I forgot to put on my my tracking software. No, wait. Oops. Okay, I'm back. Okay. You won't believe what just happened. What just happened? Hi, Pappy. Hi, Phil. Hi, Cat. Hi, Pride. I'm sorry you gave up your life as a VIP. Oh, no way! Phil did! He got it! No way! I'm adding you right now. What is it? Settings? Community? Roles manager. Now you gotta watch 9? Why? Hi, Joshy. Add new. Lord. Bill. Wait, is your name... It's with an I, right? Lord Fee. VIP. Okay, it should have worked. Good morrow. Yeah! Oh my gosh, look. On the I didn't even notice this, but on the chat, you get a little wand. When you're a VIP, you're carrying a wand. What a wonderful celebration today. Wow, I'm huge. I'm huge. I'm opening up a Ritz. Ritz. Ritz crackers. Punctuation over the head. Yeah! It's so cute. So I figured out what was making that fuzzy noise. It was the thing that I bought. Chicken wings? What kind of sauce do you have on it? I got this like little interface thing that's supposed to boost my volume. Oh, torta! Yummy. And then randomly it was making a weird fuzzy noise. And I know it was this thing because I'm plugging in, I'm in my old interface now, and it's a lot quieter. I have to like, I'm using like so much gain right now. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know why it stopped doing it nicely. I can plug my headphones into this device, and when my mic wasn't plugged in and my headphones were plugged in, I could still hear all the fuzzy noise. It was so weird. It's like, it's definitely the device itself. So I sent them an email asking them to tell me how to fix it, or else they should give me my money back. I didn't move them. I tried a whole bunch of different wires. I tried different USB ports. I tried the drivers again. I tried all sorts of things. What's good? Hi, Goon. Hi, Teddy. Does it sound okay, though? Is my sound okay? It sounds like signal noise, but happening suddenly is a bit odd. Yeah, that's what I was looking up, and they were saying something like, oh, it might be your phone being too close or something. And I was like, oh, well. Yeah, I spent a long time setting up this one. Actually, I had set it up specifically for the other interface with the white noise. But I was mad because it sounded fine, except I needed to get rid of the white noise, and the white noise could only be gotten rid of through like noise cancellation stuff, noise suppressions, and none of them were working. So I was mad. And the one that did work, the one that I had on yesterday, it made my voice sound like really underwatery. So I gave up and I went to my other interface for now. So we're gonna stick with that until I can fix this one. But yeah! I'm happy. I'm happy it works at least. Oh, happy project. I hope someone's gotten a good thing. I hope you get a good grade on it. You have to do good because it's English. You have things planned for today? Ooh, I hope they're exciting. Is it? Aggressive in what kind of way? You overslept, so I missed my little learning OBS session. Oh no! Phil, if this is a big ask and you don't have to do this at all, but could you like timestamp or something when I hit like bad peaks or something, so I can just like tell what the problem is? You don't have to at all. Don't worry about it. You don't have to, just in case you want to. You're so kind. What do I use player gold for? Like the gold from the fishing? Or the gold... I guess it would be the gold from the fishing, right? The gold from the fishing is just to determine how high you are on the leaderboards. It's like your points, essentially. Ready to attack? Pride, I had to go on to that program last night and turn off the ones that were like weird. Thank you. So in the end, it was good that you did do that because I didn't know you could do that so that I could stop future people from doing that. So thank you. One of my plans is about no. What? Really? Very exciting. Rest in peace, my bits, but that's okay. I'm trying to do the attack on mobile, but it doesn't seem to be working. What? It should work. Maybe it'll be like charged and then on your desktop you can hold it or throw it better. Glad to be useful. Hopefully you're available this Friday to come see the campaign. If you have any ideas for characters, let me know because I still want to have you on as a guest. That would be fun. I think one day maybe I'll like watch the streams and like get a good idea. Getting ready to attack. Oh, I know. Wait. Oh my god. Hold on. I know what it is. It's my fault. It's all my fault. Mwah. Mwah. Thank you. It worked. It worked. It was my fault. I'm glad that they stayed because I like that kiss. Mwah! I only had it set up for my gamer setup. Oops. Uh-oh. The light! It burns my eyes! Ah! Okay, we're back. Okay, I have to stop eating these Ritz crackers. Mwah. Mwah. Oh, it's so cute. And then it leaves like the little kiss print. So cute. Okay, let's begin. Because we had to start a little late today because it took me so long to figure out how to fix things. We're gonna... what are we gonna do? We're gonna read. Guys, there's only been 3 cats... Thank you for the treat. I really like those. They're really fun. We're on the 3rd book and there's only 3 cats that have died, which is very baffling to me. Wait, should we count? Should we count that one cat? I'd be terrified if someone ate the tomato that got thrown. Because I'm wondering, do we count that Fallen Leaves? Was that what his name was? I can't remember. The cat that died in the tunnels. Probably, right? Yeah. We'll count him. He died on screen. Ah! There we go. One of my pages flew out. Okay, so as usual, when we start a new book, there's no summary because the book itself has like a really good summary of what happened previously. And yeah, feel free to fish while I read and hang out. But other than that, you're welcome to, you know, lurk, do some work. Oh my god, that rhymed. Lurk, do some work. Whoa. Hey, let's go! We're halfway done the 3rd series. Can you believe that? Lurk, work, work, lurk. Prologue. Prey stealers! This is our territory! A gray tomcat spat out the words. His neck fur bristled and his lips were drawn back in a snarl. His gaze raked over the group of cats who crouched below him on the steep path. Their claws were unsheathed and their eyes were bright and hungry. One of them had a limp rabbit dangling from her jaws. Our territory and our prey. A silver tabby tom gave him an insolent stare. If it's your territory, why are there no border markings? The prey here belongs to every cat. That's not true and you know it. A black she-cat stood close to the gray tom's shoulder, her tail lashing. Get out now! From the side of her mouth she added in a low mutter, Craig, we can't fight them. Remember what happened last time? Wait, isn't Craig from the mountain tribe? I know, Knight, the gray tom replied, but what else can we do? On Craig's other side, a huge brown tabby tom thrust his way forward, letting out a hiss of fury. Take one paw step and we'll rip off your fur. Cat named Craig. I think it's Crag, but I like saying Craig. Craig touched him on the shoulder with the tip of his tail. Steady, Talon, he warned. Let's get out of this without ripping fur if we can. More cats appeared around the curve in the path, filing the narrow space behind the silver tabby. Shear! Craig summoned a small tabby tom with a flick of his ears. Get back to the cave quickly. Tell them the invaders are back. But... Shear was obviously reluctant to leave his friends when they were already outnumbered. Now! Craig snapped. Shear turned and fled up the path. The sun was going down. Rocks cast long shadows over the rough ground, stained red as blood. The faint sound of tumbling water broke the silence, and from the sky came the harsh cry of a hawk. This is as far as you go, Craig meowed. Turn back and find somewhere else to hunt. Who's gonna make us? The silver tabby sneered. Try staying here and you'll see, Talon hissed. Craig's patrol pressed up beside him, blocking the path, but the intruders began fanning out, scrambling onto the boulders on either side. Craig crouched, tensing his muscles. He would fight if he had to, in spite of what had happened last time. Stop! A brown tabby tom shouldered his way through Craig's patrol to stand in front of the invaders. Though his muzzle was gray with age, his muscles were still wiry and powerful, and he held his head high. I am Stone Teller, tribe healer of the tribe of Rushing Water, he announced, his voice echoing hoarsely off the rocks. This is our territory, and you are not welcome here. Territory only belongs to cats who can defend it, the silver tabby retorted. Remember how we drove you out before the time of frozen water? Stone Teller growled. We will do the same again unless you leave now. The silver tabby narrowed his eyes. Drive us out? That's not how I remembered it. We chose to leave, a brown and white she-cat added from where she crouched on top of a boulder. We found a better place to spend Leaf Bear, with more prey. And now we choose to come back. The tabby tom lashed his tail. A few scrawny, flea-ridden excuses for cats aren't gonna stop us. He flexed his claws, scraping the stones. The tribe of Rushing Water has always made its home in these mountains, Stone Teller meowed. We... His words were lost in a yowl of fury as the brown and white she-cat launched herself from the boulder and fastened her claws in Knight's shoulder. The tabby tom let out a fearsome screech and hurled himself at Craig. As Craig rolled over and over, clawing his attacker, the air filled with the shrieks of battling cats. Far above, the tribe of Endless Hunting looked on helplessly. Chapter 1. J-Paw stretched. Yeah, J-Paw! J-Paw stretched, feeling the sun beat down on his fur. A warm breeze whispered around him, full of the scents of green, growing things. Somewhere above his head a bird was trilling, and he could hear the muffled slap of lake water on the shore. J-Paw! Light paw steps ruffled the sound of the waves. J-Paw pictured his mentor, Leafpool, splashing through the shallow waters at the edge of the lake. J-Paw! She repeated, her voice sounding closer. Come join me. The cool water feels wonderful. No, thank you, J-Paw muttered. For him, water was more than the gentle lapping of the lake against his paws. Instead, the sound of the waves brought back memories of cold water surging around him, the weight of soaked fur dragging him down, water filling his mouth and nose and choking the life out of him. He had drowned once in his dreams, lost in the underground tunnels with the ancient warrior Fallen Leaves, and had almost drowned for real when he and his clanmates rescued the missing Wind Clan kits. I've had enough water to last me the rest of my life. Okay. Wah wah. Leafpool's paw steps retreated, faster now, as if she was bounding through the shallows, carefree as a kit. J-Paw padded on along the shoreline. He was supposed to be looking for mallow, but when he tasted the breeze, he couldn't pick up any of the familiar pungent scent. As soon as the sound of Leafpool's paw steps faded, he veered away from the water and scrambled up the bank. He had something more important than herbs to find. He prowled forward, nose close to the ground as he sniffed his way through the clumps of grass and around shrubs until he came across the gnarled roots of a tree. Here it is! He dug his teeth into one end of the stick and pulled it out from behind the root that held it fast to the bank, away from the hungry waves. Crouching beside it, he ran his paw over the scratches, finding the group of 5, long and 3 short, that stood for the five apprentices and 3 kits who had been trapped in the tunnels as the water rose. All of them were scored through. Every cat had made it out alive. J-Paw remembered making the scratches with rock scent wreathing around him. He had almost felt as though the hairless paw of the ancient spirit was guiding his claws. But J-Paw could also feel the single unscored scratch. Fallen Leaves, the ancient cat who had guided them, still walked the tunnels alone. He closed his eyes and listened for the voices that used to whisper to him, but he could hear nothing except the wind and the trees and the ripple of the lake. Fallen Leaves? Rock? He murmured, Where are you? Why won't you talk to me anymore? There was no reply. J-Paw dragged the stick further onto the open, rolling it down the bank until the lake water could wash over it. He sniffed along its length, but all echoes of the past had vanished. J-Paw swallowed hard, almost ready to start wailing like a kit that had lost its mother. He wanted to speak to Rock, to find out more about the cats who had lived around the lake so long ago. He wanted to know why Fallen Leaves had been left to walk the caves when all the other ancient cats, even the others who had died down there, had passed on somewhere else. He was convinced these were the same cats he had felt around him in the moon pool, whose paw prints dimpled the spiral path that led down to the water. They were far older than the clans, older than even Star Clan. What wisdom they would be able to share with him. They might even be able to explain the prophecy to him, the mysterious words he had heard in Firestar's dream. There will be 3 kin of your kin, who hold the power of the stars in their paws. J-Paw, what do you think you're doing? J-Paw started. He had been so intent on the stick and his thoughts of the ancient cats that he hadn't heard Leafpool approaching. Now he could scent her so close to him and pick up the irritation that flowed off her. Sorry, he mumbled. We need more mallow, J-Paw. Just because we aren't on the brink of battle now doesn't mean that the cats won't get sick or injured. Medicine cats always have to be ready. I know, okay? J-Paw retorted. And who stopped the battle? He demanded silently. Wind Clan and Thunder Clan would have ripped each other apart if it wasn't for me and the others finding those lost kits. He didn't want to explain himself to his mentor. He could sense her looking on severely while he rolled the stick back up to the bank and hid it again under the tree roots. Then he padded away from her, along the bank. Jaws parted to pick up the scents of growing things. Before he had covered many fox lengths, he paused, staring sightlessly across the lake. Wind buffeted his fur, pressing it close to his body. Where are you? His mind called out to those long-ago cats. Speak to me, please. J-Paw, hey! J-Paw! That wasn't the voice he wanted to hear. Biting back a hiss of irritation, J-Paw turned to face Hazelpaw. He could pick up her scent and hear her paw steps as she bounded up to him, plundering through the bracken like a fox in a fit. "Look what I've got!" Hazelpaw's voice sounded gleeful and also half stifled, as if she was speaking around a piece of prey gripped in her jaws. J-Paw didn't bother to point out that he couldn't look at anything. Besides, the strong scent of vole told him what Hazelpaw was carrying. "This is my last hunting assessment." The apprentice's voice was clear now. She must have put down her prey. "If we do well, Berrypaw, Mousepaw, and I will be made warriors today." "Great." J-Paw tried to sound enthusiastic, but he was still annoyed at her for distracting him from the ancient cats. "I'm sure Dustpelt will be pleased with me," Hazelpaw went on. "This vole is huge. It's enough to feed both of Daisy's new kits." "New kits? Who did she mate with?" "Daisy's new kits can't eat a vole yet," J-Paw reminded her. Is she completely mouse-brained? They were only born 4 sunrises ago. "Well, it'll do for Daisy then." Hazelpaw still sounded excited. "That's a personal question." "She'll need to eat well now that she's feeding kits. Have you visited them yet? They're the sweetest things I've ever seen. Daisy told me she's named them Rose Kit and Toad Kit." "Toad Kit." "I know." J-Paw mewed shortly. "I can't wait until they're old enough to come out of the nursery and play," Hazelpaw went on. "Do you think Firestar might let me mentor one of them? I'll have warrior experience by the time they're ready." "They're your half-brother and sister," J-Paw meowed discouragingly. "Firestar probably won't—" "Hazelpaw!" a sharp voice interrupted, and J-Paw heard the rustle of Hazelpaw's mentor. Dustpelt, pushing his way through the bracken. Annoyance was rolling off him in waves. "Are you hunting or gossiping?" he demanded. "Sorry. Have you seen my vole, Dustpelt? It's enormous!" J-Paw heard Dustpelt pad up and sniff the bowl. "Very good," the warrior mewed, "but that doesn't mean you can sit back and wash your tail. There's lots more prey in the forest. I'll take this back to camp and you can carry on." "Okay, see you later, J-Paw." J-Paw remembered to call out, "Good luck," as Hazelpaw bounded away, but his mind was already drifting back to the ancient cats. Their silence troubled him. Have I done something wrong? Are Rock and Fallen Leaves angry with me? His mind gnawed at the problem while he found a clump of mallow and bit off the stems to carry back to camp. "Well done, J-Paw." Leafpool's voice came from behind him as he was finishing the task. "Let's go." J-Paw gathered up the bundle of stems in his jaws. It was a good excuse not to talk. As he padded back through the forest behind his mentor, he was still absent-minded, hardly noticing the sense of prey or the scuffling of small creatures in the undergrowth. He was far away, trying to walk in the paw steps of those ancient cats. Then a bird let out a sudden alarm call. J-Paw started at the fierce beating of wings right in front of his nose, dropped the mallow, and jumped back. "Hey!" Berrypaw's indignant yowl came from a few tail lengths away. "That was my thrush you just scared off. Couldn't you see I was stalking it?" "No, I couldn't see that." Guilt and annoyance at his own clumsiness made J-Paw savage. "I'm blind, in case you hadn't noticed." "But you can do better than that," Leafpool meowed crossly. "Keep your mind on what you're doing, J-Paw. You've been scattier than a rabbit all morning." "Well, I hope he hasn't messed up my assessment," Berrypaw muttered. "I'd have had that thrush if it wasn't for him." "I know," Brambleclaw meowed. J-Paw picked up the ThunderClan deputy's scent a little further away. Mousepaw and his mentor, Spiderleg, were nearby too. Oh no, has all of ThunderClan been watching? "There's no point in wailing over lost prey," Brambleclaw went on, padding closer, "and a warrior doesn't get worked up over one little setback. Come on, Berrypaw, see if you can find a mouse among the tree roots over there." "Okay." J-Paw could tell that Berrypaw was still angry, in spite of what his mentor had said. "J-Paw, just keep out of my way, will you?" "No problem." J-Paw shot back at him. "Yes, it is time we get back to the clearing." Leafpool gave J-Paw a nudge with her shoulder. "This way." "I know where the camp is, thanks." J-Paw collected his herbs and padded behind his mentor, through the thorn tunnel and into the stone hollow. Brushing past the screens of brambles in front of the medicine cat's den, he deposited his bundle in the cave at the back. "I'm gonna go get some fresh kill, okay?" he mewed. Just a moment, J-Paw. Leafpool set her own herbs down and sat in front of him. J-Paw could sense her impatience and frustration. I don't know what's gotten into you lately, she began. Ever since you and the others found the Wind Clan kits by the edge of the lake. There was a question in her voice, and J-Paw could taste a powerful scent of curiosity coming from her. Leafpool clearly knew there was more to the story of the lost kits than he and his littermates were telling, but there was no way he would reveal that the kits had actually been wandering in a network of tunnels that lay beneath ThunderClan and WindClan territory. He knew that Lionpaw and Hollypaw, as well as the WindClan apprentices Heatherpaw and Breezepaw, would keep quiet too. No cat wanted to admit that Lionpaw and Heatherpaw had been playing in the tunnels for moons, so they couldn't tell the story of how they had nearly drowned, along with the missing kits, as rain filled the tunnels and swelled the underground stream into a terrifying flood. J-Paw still had nightmares about the surging, suffocating river. J-Paw, are you all right? Leafpool went on. Her irritation was fading away, giving way to concern. A sticky flood threatened to overwhelm J-Paw, just like the water in the tunnels. You would tell me, wouldn't you, if anything was wrong? Sure, he muttered, hoping his mentor wouldn't detect the lie. Everything's fine. Leafpool hesitated. J-Paw felt his fur begin to prickle defensively, but the medicine cat only sighed and mewed. Go and eat, then. Later, when it's a bit cooler, we'll go up to the old two-leg nest and collect some catmint. Before she had finished speaking, J-Paw was on his paws and pushing his way out past the brambles. He padded over to the fresh kill pile, sniffed out a plump mouse, and carried it back to a sunny spot outside his den to eat it. Sun-high was just past, and the stone hollow was filled with warmth. His belly comfortably full, J-Paw lay on his side and cleaned his whiskers with one paw. Cinderpaw and Hollypaw had just pushed their way in through the thorn tunnel. Even at a distance, J-Paw could pick out the mossy scent of the training hollow clinging to their fur. I'm sorry I beat you every time, Hollypaw meowed. Are you sure you're okay? I'm fine, Cinderpaw insisted. I wouldn't be okay if you let me win by not fighting your best. Her voice sounded brave, but J-Paw could tell from her paw steps that Cinderpaw's injured leg was troubling her. There was nothing more the medicine cats could do. Only time could strengthen the leg. Or was Cinderpaw destined to never be a warrior, like Cinderpelt before her? J-Paw was distracted from Cinderpaw's problem by the sound of shrill squeals coming from the nursery. He winced. Daisy's... I hesitated because I was going to say, like how all the cats have two parts to their name. I was going to say Daisy something, and then there was nothing to grab onto. Daisy's kits were only 4 sunrises old, but they had huge voices. Their father, Spiderleg, had insisted on taking Mousepaw out for his assessment, even though Dustpelt had offered to take his place so he could spend more time in the nursery. J-Paw thought Spiderleg seemed awkward around his kits, as if he couldn't adjust to the idea of being a father. He is still pretty young. In any case, J-Paw thought, the nursery was pretty crowded. Ice Kit and Fox Kit, Ferncloud's latest litter, were still in there, though they were nearly old enough to become apprentices. And Millie, Millie, who's expecting Gray Stripes kits, had just moved in. What? Oh my god, Stormfur's gonna get a half-sibling. J-Paw knew that Firestar was proud of how strong ThunderClan was becoming, though he had sometimes worried about how they would all be fed. More rustling came from the thorn tunnel, and Lionpaw staggered into camp with his mentor, Ashfur, just behind him. 2 mice and a squirrel, Ashfur meowed. Well done, Lionpaw. That's the sort of hunting I expect from you. In spite of the words of praise, Ashfur didn't sound enthusiastic. J-Paw thought that his brother and Ashfur had never gotten on as well as mentor and apprentice should. There was something there that puzzled him, and something in Ashfur he couldn't quite read. But it was probably unimportant. J-Paw dismissed the question from his mind, and his brother flopped down beside him, a mouse in his jaws. I'm worn out, Lionpaw announced. I thought I'd have to chase that squirrel all the way to ShadowClan. Why bother? J-Paw asked. It's not your assessment today. I know, Lionpaw mumbled around a mouthful of fresh kill, but that's not the point. A good warrior will always do as much as he can to feed the clan. And Lionpaw wanted to be the best warrior he could. J-Paw knew that, and he knew how tense and determined his brother had been ever since they found the kits in the tunnels. He knew the reason, too, even without reading Lionpaw's mind. His brother had decided to concentrate on his training to make up for meeting the Wind Clan apprentice Heatherpaw in secret. J-Paw's whiskers twitched in sympathy. As a medicine cat, he was allowed to have friends outside his clan, though he couldn't imagine wanting to. How could anyone trust a cat from a different clan? The patter of falling pebbles alerted him that Firestar was bounding down from the high ledge. His voice came from close to the warrior's den. We need a border patrol. Which of you? Beside J-Paw, Lionpaw leaped to his feet. I'll go! For a moment, J-Paw wondered why Firestar was organizing a patrol, until he remembered that the clan deputy, Brambleclaw, was out in the forest giving Berrypaw his assessment. Thanks, Lionpaw, Firestar meowed, but I can see you've been working hard today. Lionpaw sat down again. J-Paw could tell he was disappointed. I'll go, Graystripe spoke as he pushed his way out of the warrior's den. So will I. Squirrelflight was just behind him. And I'll come help with Honeypaw. J-Paw heard Sandstorm padding up from the direction of the apprentice's den, with her apprentice at her side. Oh my god, it's the gang. Good, meowed Firestar. I think you should take a look at the border with WindClan. Everything's been quiet since the kits were found, but you never know. We'll make sure the scent marks are fresh, Graystripe promised, and if we see... He broke off at the sound of excited meows and loud rustling from the thorn tunnel. J-Paw sat up, jaws parted to distinguish the different scents of the newcomers. Berrypaw was the first into the clearing, with Hazelpaw and Mousepaw bundling just behind him. They were followed by their mentors, Brambleclaw, Dustpelt, and Spiderleg. We did it! Berrypaw's triumphant yowl echoed around the stone hollow. We all passed our assessment, and now we'll all be warriors! Berrypaw, Brambleclaw sounded stern. That's for Firestar to decide. Sorry. J-Paw could feel Berrypaw's sudden dejection and pictured him with a head and tail drooping. But we will get to be warriors, won't we? Maybe we should assess how well you can keep your mouth shut, Dustpelt snapped. It's okay. Firestar sounded amused. If the mentors will come and speak to me, we'll arrange the warrior ceremony. What about the border patrol? Graystripe asked. You can wait until dusk. We're not expecting trouble after all. All the apprentices were gathering in an excited cluster near their den. Lionpaw pelted across to join them. J-Paw rose, stretched, and followed more slowly. And 2 voles! Berrypaw was meowing as J-Paw came into earshot, and I'd have a thrush as well if he hadn't frightened it away. J-Paw's neck fur bristled, but before he could speak, Hollypaw jumped to his defense. What does it matter? You passed the assessment. J-Paw's tail twitched. I can look after myself, thanks. I got a humongous vole. Hazelpaw was too excited to notice the hostility between Berrypaw and J-Paw, and I brought down a blackbird just as it was flying away. Dustpelt said he'd never seen such a good leap. That's great, mewed Honeypaw. I caught a squirrel, Mousepaw boasted. J-Paw I got a squirrel! J-Paw remembered how the apprentice had climbed the sky oak in pursuit of a squirrel, and then was too scared to climb down again. Cinderpaw had broken her leg going up to fetch him when a branch gave way and she fell. J-Paw would have bet a moon of searching the elder's fur for ticks that the squirrel Mousepaw caught had been on the ground. I wish we were being assessed, don't you? Hollypaw muttered to Lionpaw. Sometimes I think we'll never be warriors. I know. Lionpaw sounded just as envious. Then a jolt of determination shot through him. We'll just have to work harder, that's all. J-Paw didn't join in the conversation. His paws were set on a different path. He wouldn't finish his medicine cat training for a long, long time. When he received his proper name, he would still be Leafpool's apprentice. He wouldn't be a full medicine cat until she died. Even though his fur prickled at the thought of his littermates moving on without him, he didn't want his mentor to die. Besides, the prophecy said that he and the others would have the power of the stars in their paws as soon as they were born. It didn't say they had to be warriors first. Firestar's voice rang out from the high ledge. Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey gather for a clan meeting. The clearing flooded with different scents as the clan began to emerge. J-Paw could make out Mousefur and Longtail, the elders, as they left their shelter of their den under the hazel bush. Leafpool came out of the medicine cat's den and sat in front of the screen of brambles. Then the other scents were overwhelmed by daisies as she bounded over to the group of apprentices. Bearpaw, just look at you, she exclaimed. Your fur's sticking out all over the place. And Hazelpaw, have you collected every single burr between here and the lake? J-Paw heard the sound of fierce licking. It's okay, I can do it, Berrypaw protested. Nonsense, Daisy scolded. You can't go to your warrior ceremony looking like some scruffy band of road kits. Any cat would think I hadn't brought you up properly. She began licking Berrypaw again, then broke off to add, Mousepaw, you're just as bad. Have you seen the state of your tail? I hope Firestar's forgotten about my tail, Berrypaw mewed anxiously. He might use it to give me my warrior name. Oh my god, Berrytail. Berrypaw's tail was just a short stump. When he was a kit, he had snuck out of camp to go hunting and caught his tail in a fox trap. What, very stumpy tail? Poppypaw suggested. That would be a mouthful. Oh no, Berrypaw wailed. Firestar wouldn't, would he? Don't be silly, Daisy mewed. I'm sure you don't have anything to worry about. Brightheart's voice joined the conversation. Among all the different scents, J-Paw hadn't noticed her approach. When the dog pack attacked me, Bluestar gave me Lostface as my warrior name. But when Firestar became leader, he changed it. I'm sure he wouldn't give any cat a cruel name. I hope not, Berrypaw sounded doubtful. Suddenly alarmed, J-Paw thought over what Brightheart had said. You don't think Leafpool might mention that I'm blind when she gives me my full medicine cat name? He muttered into Hollypaw's ear. Like Jano Eyes? That's just as stupid as Berry Stumpy Tail, his sister replied. You think it's stupid, but will Leafpool... Be quiet, all of you, Graystripe interrupted. The ceremony's about to start. Lionpaw gave J-Paw a nudge. Come on, let's get a good place in the front. I want to see everything that happens. Yes, it'll be our turn soon, Hollypaw meowed enthusiastically. J-Paw followed his litter mates and the other apprentices to the front of the crowd that had gathered around Firestar. He could sense fizzing pride in the three who were to be made warriors. He pictured them sleek-furred and shiny after their mother's frantic licking. Daisy felt just as proud, though J-Paw pricked up anxiety too, for the two tiny kids she had left in the nursery. Then he located Ferncloud, sitting just outside the nursery with Icekit and Foxkit. The gentle queen would make sure no harm would come to the two newborns while their mother watched her firstborn litter become warriors. This is a good day for ThunderClan. The excited murmuring of the clan cats died into silence as Firestar began to speak. No clan can survive without new warriors. Brambleclaw, is your apprentice Berrypaw ready for his warrior ceremony? He has trained well, Brambleclaw replied. J-Paw could feel the excitement of the three apprentices building as Firestar addressed the other two mentors, Dustpelt and Spiderleg. Then he heard their paw steps as they padded forward to stand in front of Firestar. I, Firestar, leader of ThunderClan, called upon my warrior ancestors to look down on these apprentices. The clan leader's voice rang out above the rustle of trees at the top of the hollow. They have trained hard to understand the ways of your noble code, and I commend them to you as warriors in their turn. Berrypaw, Hazelpaw, Mousepaw, do you promise to uphold the warrior code and to protect and defend this clan, even at the cost of your lives? I do, the three cats replied, Berrypaw loudest of all. For a few heartbeats, J-Paw felt his fur prickle with envy. One day he would have his own naming ceremony as a medicine cat, but he would never stand before his clan and make the promise to defend it with his life. Then, by the powers of StarClan, I give you your warrior names. Firestar went on. Berrypaw, from this moment you will be known as Berrynose. Berrynose. Oh, thank you! The new warrior exclaimed, interrupting his clan leader. A ripple of amusement passed through the clan, though J-Paw caught a hiss of annoyance from Berrynose's former mentor, Brambleclaw. Firestar waited for the noise to die down before continuing. StarClan honors your bravery and your enthusiasm, and we welcome you as a full warrior of ThunderClan. There was a pause. J-Paw knew that Firestar would rest his muzzle on the top of Barry Nose's head, and Barry Nose would lick the leader's shoulder. Then Firestar went on to give Hazelpaw the name of Hazeltail, and Mousepaw became Mouse Whisker. ThunderClan is proud of you all, Firestar finished. May you serve your clan faithfully. Mouse, Whisker, Hazeltail, Barry Nose! The clan welcomed the three new warriors with enthusiastic yowls. J-Paw sensed their pride in their new responsibilities and a renewed confidence in every cat that the clan was growing in strength and numbers, the hardships of the great journey now a fading memory. But there was something more lingering in the hollow like mist, traditions that stretched back beyond ThunderClan to the ancient cats who had walked the forest long ago. If Fallen Leaves had made it alive out of the tunnels, would he have been greeted like this? What happened to those cats? J-Paw wondered. Where did they all go? They died. Chapter 2, but I'm gonna eat a cracker first.
Oops.
Good news, reading audio is still good. Yay! Wonderful. I'm happy. Audio is like the bane of my existence. But your setup is so unique and weird. Why is it weird? Fish. Fish crackers! Oh my god, I could have been eating that. And this aftermarket volume control device, 5 knobs and 4 faders, so I can manually adjust channels. Dang. I wanted to go XLR, but then they stopped making them, which is really sad. I mean, I know they were really expensive, but they had like a smaller one, right? Like the Go XLR Mini. You had one? Whoa. You had like, it's real nice? Oh, we'll have. That's cool. It's just in storage. You could sell it for good money. And your VR headsets. But maybe you should keep those ones, and then maybe they'll be worth even more in the future. I don't know, actually. If you could rank all your VR headsets, what would you rank them? From worst to best? You use all of them? Do they all have different purposes? That would make sense. I remember when VR was just starting out, and I went to like this exhibition thing, and they had like a Game of Thrones display thing it was like 4D, but you put on like a headset and it was like you were walking on the wall in Game of Thrones and then you fall off. The Quest 3 gets a lot of use though. Ooh, index. Interesting. I have tracking. I just realized I put like full body tracking device thing on my throne, but not a headset. So I guess I could have the full body tracking, but I just wouldn't have the headset portion of it. All right. Chapter 2. I've had enough crackers. Lionpaw pushed his way through the clumps of long grass wet with dew. He shivered as the moisture soaked his fur and blinked sleep from his eyes. Clouds lay low over the forest, though a growing brightness above the trees showed where the sun was rising. The Dawn Patrol was heading towards WindClan territory. Ashfur and Berrynose had drawn slightly ahead, discussing something in voices too low for Lionpaw to catch. After a few moments, Berrynose glanced over his shoulder. "Don't lag behind, Lionpaw," he meowed loudly. "And watch out for fox traps." "Watch yourself," Lionpaw muttered. The cream-colored Tom had been a warrior for 3 whole days, and already he was acting like a mentor. But he needn't think I'm gonna obey his orders. Lionpaw let himself drop even further behind. His paws were tingling with memory as he rounded a bramble thicket and saw the entrance to the tunnels. It looked like a disused rabbit hole, half hidden by the bracken. The bracken. But once it had led down into a cave with an underground river and then up again into WindClan territory. Pain stabbed Lionpaw's heart as he remembered how he used to plunge into the tunnels at night and meet Heatherpaw in the cave. Book 3! Hi, Saki! The third one. He wished they could go back to the time where she had been Heather Star, leader of Dark Clan, and he was her loyal deputy. He hesitated outside the entrance for a heartbeat, then couldn't resist squeezing through it and crawling along the tunnel until he came to the avalanche of mud left behind when the tunnels flooded. He opened his mouth, but all he could taste was wet soil and worms. "Lionpaw, I know you're in there," Berrynose called. "Come out now!" "Welcome!" For a moment, Lionpaw felt like ignoring him, but he realized how stupid that would be. He didn't want to stay in this damp, stifling hole. Slowly, he wriggled backwards until he could stand up and shake the mud from his fur. Berrynose was standing in front of him, cream-colored fur bristling. Ashfur was a couple tail lengths away. His blue eyes were calm and unreadable. "What do you think you're doing exploring a dangerous place like that?" Berrynose demanded. "What if the roof had fallen in? You'd expect us to dig you out, I suppose, like last time." Lionpaw had almost suffocated when he fell into an old badger set during the daylight gathering, but that was completely different. And anyways, Berrynose hadn't been the one to dig him out. "Stop ordering me around," he snapped. "You're not my mentor. Then stop behaving like a stupid kid." Lionpaw dug his claws into the ground to stop himself from taking a swipe at the arrogant Tom. "Don't call me a kid," he growled. "Your scent hasn't faded out of the apprentice den and you're already—" "That's enough," Ashfur interrupted. "Berrynose, I'll do the mentoring, thanks. But he's right, Lionpaw. There's no point in sticking your nose down every hole between here and WindClan, unless there were any suspicious scents down there." "No, but there could have been," Lionpaw defended himself. Ashfur made no comment, except for an impatient twitch of the tail. "Let's get moving." Lionpaw gave Berrynose a final glare and patted after his mentor. He could still feel a tug of longing for Heatherpaw, drawing him down into the caves, but he knew he would never walk there again, and not just because mud had blocked the tunnels. He wanted to be the greatest ThunderClan warrior ever, and he couldn't do that if his best friend was a cat from another clan. "Jump! High as you can! Now!" Lionpaw leapt into the air, twisting as he landed so that he was facing his opponent. He managed to land a blow on Poppy Paw's haunches before she scrambled around to face him. Flashing a glance towards the edge of the clearing, he could just make out the shadow of a tabby-striped pelt and the gleam of amber eyes. "Thanks, Tiger Star." Poppy Paw sprang at him, and Lion Paw launched himself forward, slipping underneath her with his belly brushing the moss. Hooking her hind legs out from under her, he planted his forepaws on her belly as she rolled over. "Well done, Lion Paw." Astra gave him a nod of approval, though there was no warmth in his blue eyes. What am I doing wrong now? Lion Paw wondered. He had understood Ashfur's annoyance with him when he was spending every night in the caves with Heatherpaw. Then he'd been almost too tired to put one paw in front of the other during the day. But I'm training well now. I'm working really hard. I've never seen that last move before. Thornclaw, Poppy Paw's mentor, padded up to the two apprentices. Where did you learn it? I just figured it out, I suppose? Lion Paw mumbled. He had learned the move from Tiger Star during a training bout with Hawkfrost. The two shadowy cats visited him so often it felt as if he always had voices in his ears, telling him to jump higher, strike harder, twist out of the way. The constant practice had made his muscles harder and stronger. He knew without any cat telling him that his battle skills had improved faster than any other apprentices, but it was difficult sometimes to explain where his skills came from. You can let me up now, Poppy Paw mewed. Oh, sorry. Lion Paw stepped away from her as she bounded. She bounced to her paws, shaking scraps of moss from her fur. Will you teach me how to do that? Sure. When a cat leaps at you, you need to flatten yourself, but keep moving forward. Like this? Poppy Paw tried to imitate the move. Yeah, but a bit faster. While the young tortoiseshell she-cat practiced, Lion Paw glanced towards the edge of the clearing again, but the ghostly presence of Tiger Star was gone. Lion Paw maneuvered a long tendril of bramble through the tunnel into the stone hollow, tugging hard as it snagged on the thorns. His paws were aching with tiredness. First the dawn patrol, then the training session, then, after a short break for a few mouthfuls of fresh kill, Astra had sent him to repair the Elder's Den, and it was only just past sun-high. Dang. As he dragged the bramble across the clearing, something heavy landed on the other end of it, bringing him up short and making him stumble. Dropping his end, Lion Paw glanced back to see Foxkit. The reddish tabby Tom had sunk his teeth into the other end of the tendril and was battering it with his paws. A low growl came from his throat. Shadow Clan are invading! Ice Kit squealed, dashing up beside her brother and leaping onto the bramble. Get out of the camp! White Wing halted on her way across the clearing, her neck fur beginning to bristle, then carried on with a flick of her tail. Cloudtail thrust his head out of the warrior's den, blue eyes wide with alarm. When he spotted the two kits, he twitched his ears in disgust and disappeared. Hey, you're disturbing every cat, Lion Paw meowed. And I need this to patch up the Elder's Den. Can we help? Ice Kit asked. Yes, we'll be apprentices soon, Foxkit added, letting go of the bramble. Okay, but be careful, so you don't get thorns in your pants. Lion Paw went on dragging the tendril across the clearing. The two kits tried to help him tug it along, but they mostly got under his paws and made the task harder. When they drew closer to the Elder's Den, Foxkit and Ice Kit seemed to forget about helping. Instead, they dashed across to Mousefur and Longtail, who were sunning themselves in the entrance to the den. Tell us the story, Foxkit demanded. Tell us about the great journey. Tell us how the two legs... No, I want to hear about the old forest, Ice Kit interrupted. Mousefur yawned. You tell them something, she mewed to Longtail. Then maybe they'll settle down and some cats can get a bit of sleep. She closed her eyes and wrapped her tail over her nose. Longtail sighed, then settled into a comfortable crouch with his paws tucked under his chest. He turned to face towards the kits, even though he couldn't see them. Okay, what do you want to hear about? Tiger Star! Foxkit's fur bristled with excitement. Yes, Tiger Star! Ice Kit added. An audio ad. Tell us how you tried to take over the forest. Lion Paw saw Longtail's tail tip flick as the blind cat hesitated. Curiosity clawed at him as he began weaving the length of bramble to block up a hole in the honeysuckle fronds that sheltered the den. He wanted to hear about Tiger Star as much as the kits did. Tiger Star was a great warrior, Lion Tail began at last. He was the strongest cat in the forest and the best fighter. When I was a young cat, I thought he would be the next leader of ThunderClan. I wanted to be just like him. The pale tabby added awkwardly. But he was evil, Foxkit burst out round-eyed. We didn't know that back then, Longtail explained. He killed Redtail, the ThunderClan deputy, but every cat believed that Redtail had died in battle. Lionpaw's belly churned as he listened to the tale of blood and conspiracy. It was hard to keep his paws moving, fixing the brambles into place, and to pretend that this was just a story to him, no more than it was to the kits. This was the cat who padded beside him through the forest, teaching him how to be a warrior. It was Tiger Star's ambition that destroyed him, Longtail concluded. If he had been willing to wait for power to come to him, he would have been the greatest leader in the forest. Lionpaw relaxed. There was no reason for him to avoid Tiger Star. The Dark Tabby couldn't be ambitious now. He was dead. There was nothing left for him to plan for. And he had never suggested that Lionpaw should break the warrior code. He had been angry when he discovered the meetings with Heatherpaw in the cave. All he wanted was to make Lionpaw a really good warrior. Perhaps Tiger Star was sorry for what he had done and was trying to make up for it by helping ThunderClan. Lionpaw left the kits pestering Longtail with questions and padded thoughtfully out of camp to fetch more brambles. Chapter 3. Wait, let me read what Snigglefritz wrote. Now a verse from our collective tale. In the chat where the words do flow, Lord Phil's setup steals the show. Knobs and faders, a tech delight, even though streaming's out of sight. Saki's questions the tale. Is it book 4 or 3 sale? Nona reads with grace, while Kespler welcomes to a fantasy place. Join the carnival, don't be shy, with Snigglefritz link up high. Yay! Chapter 3. Hollypaw pushed through the brambles into the nursery and set down a blackbird in front of Daisy. Rosekit and Toadkit lay in the curve of their mother's belly, suckling with their tiny tails stretched out behind them. Thank you, Daisy mewed, reaching out one paw to drag the blackbird closer. That feels like a good plump one. Can we have one? Or can we have some? Foxkit sat up from where he was wrestling with his sister. I'm starving. Certainly not, their mother, Ferncloud, replied. You're old enough to fetch your own fresh kill. Can we? Icekit's head popped up from the bracken. I could eat a whole rabbit. All right, Ferncloud meowed. Fetch some for Millie, too. She called after them as the two kits shot out through the opening in the brambles. Millie blinked sleepily from where she lay in a mossy nest. Her belly looked huge. Hollypaw guessed that it wouldn't be long before her kits were born. Thank you, Millie purred to Ferncloud. Ferncloud sighed. It's time those two were apprenticed. They need mentors to keep an eye on them. Hollypaw silently agreed as she left the nursery and padded across to the fresh kill pile to fetch prey for the elders. Foxkit and Icekit were already there, play-fighting over a cafinch. What about some prey for Millie? Hollypaw reminded them. Oh, sorry. Foxkit scrambled up, grabbed a couple of mice by their tails, and scampered off across the clearing with the prey swinging from his jaws. Icekit let out a purr of triumph and settled down to eat the cafinch. Chaffinch? Chaffinch. Hollypaw began nosing through the fresh kill pile to find something for the elders. The scents of the nursery still clung to her fur. She felt as if the whole camp was full of kits and mothers expecting kits. Will the clan expect me to have kits? She wondered. She knew that kits were the future of the clan, but when she thought about becoming a mother herself, she felt as if she were carrying the weight of the whole forest on her shoulders. She was beginning to drag a rabbit out of the pile when Honeypaw came bounding up to her. Who's that for? Honeypaw asked. The elders? I just took them a squirrel, Honeypaw told her. If they're okay in the nursery, then we're done. Hollypaw let the rabbit drop back onto the pile. There's not much fresh kill left, she meowed. I'm gonna ask Breakinfur if we can go hunting. Though there had been a heavy shower at dawn, the clouds had cleared away and the sun was shining. Every leaf and blade of grass sparkled. A stiff breeze carried prey scent from the forest. Holly Paw's paws itched with longing to get out of camp. "There's a hunting patrol just coming back," Honey Paw pointed out, flicking her tail towards the camp entrance. Graystripe emerged, carrying a squirrel and 2 mice in his jaws, followed by Brightheart with a couple of voles and Berrynose with a rabbit. "Oh, look!" Honey Paw's eyes stretched wide. "Berrynose! Berrynose has caught a huge rabbit! He's amazing!" "Berrynose?" Holly Paw couldn't stop her voice from squeaking in surprise. Ever since he had become a warrior 5 days earlier, the cream-colored Tom had been the bossiest cat in the clan. Honey Paw blinked in embarrassment and scuffled at the sandy floor of the clearing with her forepaws. "I really like him," she confessed, "but I don't suppose he'll look at me, not now that he's a warrior." Holly Paw privately thought that Berrynose's nose was so high in the air that he wouldn't be able to look at any cat. And if he knew that Honey Paw liked him, he would become even more unbearable. "You're good enough for," she began, only to break off as Honey Paw dashed away to meet Berrynose in the middle of the clearing. Holly Paw sighed. There were only apprentices. Surely it was too early to think about taking a mate. She wanted to prove herself as a warrior first, to show courage in defending her clan and skill in hunting to feed her clanmates. She wanted to take responsibility for how her clan was run, to make ThunderClan great for season after season. Holly Paw stood rigid, paws froze into the ground. "Yes," she thought, "I'd much rather be clan leader than a nursing queen." For a heartbeat, the strength of her ambition frightened her. Then she calmed down. There was nothing wrong with wanting to be a clan leader, if it meant she would serve her clan with every muscle in her body and every hair on her pelt. Turning away from the fresh kill pile, fed up with the sight of Honey Paw hanging adoringly around Berrynose, she saw her mother, Squirrelflight, emerging from the warrior's den. "Hi, Nano!" Holly Paw bounded over to her. "Squirrelflight, can I ask you something?" Her mother's ears twitched. "Sure." "You had kids," Holly Paw meowed, "but you managed to be a warrior as well. How did you do it?" Squirrelflight narrowed her eyes, and for a moment Holly Paw thought she saw something flash in their green depths, some emotion she couldn't understand. But her mother's voice was as even as ever as she asked. When she asked, "Why do you want to know that?" "I was just wondering." Holly Paw felt awkward. "I just feel like every cat expects she-cats to have kits, and I'm not sure I want that. I want to be a warrior." To her annoyance, Squirrelflight's tail curled up in amusement. "Don't try to plan so far ahead," her mother meowed. "StarClan already has your path marked out, and there'll be twists and turns in it that you can't possibly expect." "But look around you," Squirrelflight went on. "Plenty of she-cats have kits and return to the warrior's den." "But do they become clan leader?" "Don't worry about it," Squirrelflight finished, resting her tail tip on her daughter's shoulder. "Just concentrate on your training." "Hi, Momo!" "That doesn't help," Holly Paw thought frustratedly. "This doesn't help me at all." Holly Paw returned from hunting to find the clan beginning to gather in the middle of the clearing. Firestar was standing on the high ledge, his flame-colored pelt blazing in a ray of sunlight. Holly Paw carried her prey across to the fresh kill pile. "What's going on?" she asked Cloudtail, who was sharing a thrush with his mate, Brightheart. "Ice Kid and Fox Kid are going to be apprenticed." "Whoa! What? 你给我羡慕啊?" "It's about time, too," Cloudtail muttered. "They frightened my fur off the other day, yowling that ShadowClan was attacking us." His mate gave him a gentle prod with one forepaw. "Kids are kids, Cloudtail. You know they'll be good warriors one day." His only reply was a snort. Holly Paw looked around for the other apprentices. Honey Paw was sitting close to Berry Paw, who was ignoring her and talking to Birchfall instead. J-Paw appeared from behind the bramble screen at the entrance to the medicine cat's den, and a heartbeat later Leafpool joined him. Holly Paw took a paw steps towards them, but she felt awkward about joining them in case they were discussing medicine cat business. Poppy Paw and Cinder Paw were sitting near Sandstorm and Graystripe, and as Holly Paw glanced around, she spotted Lion Paw emerging from the apprentice den to find a place next to them. Holly Paw bounded across. Ferncloud emerged from the nursery with Foxkit and Icekit. Dustpelt followed. The brown tabby warrior looked ready to burst with pride. The Kit's eyes were bright with excitement, and their glossy pelts shone in the sunlight. Both of them were trying hard to be dignified, but halfway across the clearing, Icekit gave a little bounce. Her father caught up to her and flicked her over the ear with his tail. After that, she managed to walk calmly until she and her brother reached the front. Firestar bounded down the tumble of rocks from the high ledge and called both Kits to stand in front of him. "Squirrelflight," he began, "your time for apprentice is long overdue. You will be mentor to Foxpaw." Squirrelflight stepped out of the crowd, her head and tail held high. As she padded towards Firestar, Foxkit ran up to meet her. "Squirrelflight, the whole clan knows your courage and loyalty," Firestar continued. "Do your best to pass these qualities on to Foxpaw." Foxpaw reached up to touch noses with Squirrelflight, and the two cats withdrew to the side of the hollow. "Squirrelflight's a mentor now," Hollypaw told herself, and she had Kits. It is possible to do both. Firestar's gaze rested on a young white she-cat. "Whitewing, you two are ready for your first apprentice. You will mentor Icepaw." Eyes glowing with happiness, Whitewing padded over to her apprentice. They touched noses and followed the other new apprentice and his mentor to the side of the clearing. The rest of the clan began to crowd around, congratulating them and calling the apprentices by their new names. Hollypaw noticed that Berrynose and Birchpaw stayed where they were. "Huh!" Birchpaw exclaimed, loud enough for the other cats around him to hear. "I don't know why Firestar picked Whitewing. I'd be just as good as a mentor as her." "Firestar picks the best cat for the job," Sandstorm told him as she walked past. "Whitewing is older than you, and don't forget she could have been made a warrior much sooner, but she asked to be put off so you wouldn't be the only apprentice." "Oh, burn!" Birchfall muttered something Hollypaw didn't catch. "You'll have apprentices soon," Sandstorm assured him. "For once the clan has plenty of Kits." Birchfall didn't dare complain anymore, but he still looked discontented. Berrynose whispered something in his ear, and the two young Toms moved away with their heads close together. What a bunch of, they're not jocks, but you know that feeling? They're like the studs. Yeah. They're the studs of the clan. The cool young Toms strutting about. They own everything. They're good-looking cats. Single. Strong. Aggressive. Hollypaw sighed. That's so real. She didn't know what had gotten into Birchfall lately. He used to be good fun. He had been made a warrior so recently that he still remembered what it was like to be an apprentice. Now he's been as much of a pain in the tail as Berrynose, she thought. By the time Hollypaw got close enough to congratulate the apprentices, the cats were drifting away to get on with their duties. Giga cats! Exactly! But not a cool Giga cat. Hollypaw felt a touch on her shoulder and turned to see her mentor, Breakenfur. "Firestar wants us to do the evening patrol with him," the golden tabby Tom mewed. "Are you ready?" "Sure." Hollypaw's heart began to race as she felt every hair on her pelt raise with excitement. Apprentices didn't often go on patrol with the clan leader. This was her chance to show Firestar what she had learned. Twisting her neck, she gave her shoulder a few swift licks. She would have liked to give herself a thorough grooming, but there wasn't enough time. As Firestar padded over to join her and Breakenfur, she just hoped her fur wasn't sticking up and she hadn't collected any burrs in her pelt. "Let's go," the clan leader meowed. "We need to renew the scent markings along the Shadow Clan border." The sun was going down as Hollypaw followed the two Toms through the thorn tunnel and into the forest. Scarlet light washed over the ground, barred with the long shadows of trees. Only the wind rustled in the branches broke the silence, along with the faint scuffling of prey in the undergrowth. Hollypaw ignored the enticing prey scents. This wasn't a hunting patrol. She concentrated on looking and listening, and when she tasted the air, it was to make sure that there were no unusual scents, especially not the scents of Shadow Clan warriors and Thunder Clan territory. Firestar halted. "Listen!" Hollypaw froze, ears straining. Her neck fur bristled when she heard, faint in the distance, the yowls and shrieks of fighting cats. "This way!" Firestar mewed, sweeping his tail around to point. "Come on!" He bounded off through the ferns with Breaking-Fur hard on his paws. Hollypaw raced after them. Grass brushed against her belly fur and brambles clawed at her pelt as she sped past. The noise of squalling and spitting grew louder. For a heartbeat, she lost sight of her leader as the cats rounded a hazel thicket. She heard Firestar yowl, "Stop!" Bursting into the open, she halted at the top of the bank. Below, in a hollow line with Breakin', 5 cats writhed viciously. Powerful scents of Shadow Clan and Thunder Clan flooded over her. Horrified, Hollypaw spotted Berry Nose's cream-colored pelt and Birchfall's tabby one. What? The 2 Thunder Clan warriors were clearly outmatched by the 3 hefty Shadow Clan cats. Hollypaw sprang forward, eager to help her clanmates, only to find Firestar's tail bearing her way. "No," he mewed. "That's Shadow Clan's territory." There's just a bunch of ignorant young toms. Hollypaw dug her claws into the ground as she stared down her clanmates. "Hi, Wibbly Wobbly!" Oh my god, that's the cutest name. What were Berrynose and Birchfall doing in another clan's territory? Opening her jaws to draw in air, she picked out both ThunderClan and ShadowClan scent markings. The faint and mingled together. She realized she was standing right on the border. Raising his voice again, Firestar repeated, "Stop!" "Wibbly Wobbly!" Wibbly Wobbly, Wibbly Wobbly. That's the cute name. To Hollypaw's relief, the cats sprang apart. She recognized Russet Fur, the Shadow Clan deputy, with warriors Oak Fur and Rowan Claw, who gave Birchfall a last cuff around the ear before facing Firestar. "What's going on here?" Firestar demanded. "I could ask you the same thing," Russet Fur retorted. "Why are your warriors trespassing on our territory?" "We know why," Oak Fur added with a lash of his tail. "ThunderClan never cares about boundaries." "That's not—" Hollypaw began to protest, but Breaking-Fur slapped his tail across her mouth to keep her quiet. Firestar's gaze raked over Berrynose and Birchfall. Though his voice was quiet, it was cold as the lake and leaf bare, and Hollypaw realized that he was furious. "Well?" he asked. Berrynose scrambled to his paws and gave his pelt a shake. He was bleeding from one ear, and several clumps of his fur had been clawed out. "We didn't know it was Shadow Clan territory," he defended himself. "You should tell these warriors to renew their scent markers." "I don't tell warriors of another clan to do anything," Firestar responded, while Russet Fur bristled with rage. "Berrynose, Birchfall, if you had checked carefully, you would have noticed the scent markers up here." Berrynose looked furious. He couldn't excuse himself by contradicting his clan leader. "We're sorry, Firestar," Birchfall meowed, hanging his head. "The markers are faint," Firestar acknowledged. He glanced at the other cats, ours and Shadow Clan's. "We're on evening patrol," Oakfur put in. "We're here to renew the scent markers." "And then we found ThunderClan warriors on this side of the border," Rowan Claw added. "They were stealing prey." "Is that true?" Firestar demanded. Birchfall nodded. Hollypaw was glad to see he looked thoroughly ashamed of himself. But Berrynose didn't seem to realize how much trouble he was in. "I was stalking a mouse," he explained, "until they came along and frightened it off." That's what he was saying to J-Paw earlier. I need to give him more of like a bro voice. "A good thing they did," Firestar commented. "Russet Fur, I'm very sorry this had happened. They are inexperienced warriors, and I'm sure they'll be more careful from now on." "I hope you'll punish them," Rowan Claw mewed sharply. "Of course I will," Firestar replied. "I'm glad to hear it." Hollypaw jumped as another voice joined the conversation. A few fox lengths deeper into the Shadow Clan territory, fronds of bracken parted to let Blackstar push his way into the open. The powerful White Tom stalked past the trespassing warriors and back up the bank to confront Firestar. His neck fur bristled as one of his huge black forepaws tore at the grass. "Greetings, Blackstar." Firestar dipped his head. "I'll make sure my warriors understand they must never cross your border again." "It was a mistake," Berrynose protested. A low growl came from deep in Blackstar's throat. Hollypaw half expected him to attack Firestar, but when he spoke, he sounded tired and despondent rather than hostile. "We never should have come here, Firestar. StarClan were wrong to bring us. When it's so hard to tell where one territory ends and the next begins, it was a lot simpler back in the forest." Firestar's eyes clouded. "But the forest is gone, Blackstar," he meowed softly. And suddenly they were like two old friends sharing memories rather than leaders of rival clans. "I miss it as much as any cat, but we have to make our life here now. Besides, StarClan brought cats to the old forest, just as they brought us to the lake." "No, they didn't!" Blackstar's neck fur, which had begun to lie flat, bristled up again. Hollypaw wondered what was making him so edgy. It seemed like something more than finding another clan's cats on his territory. "All the clans of StarClan once lived in the forest, so there must have been a group of ancient cats living there before they all divided up into clans." "Ancient cats?" Hollipaw's paws began to tingle. Where had those cats come from to settle in the forest? And what about the cats who'd settled here by the lake? Cats whose paw prints had left marks in the moon pool, who had something to do with the underground tunnels they had found in where they had found the WindClan kits. She knew that J-Paw hadn't told them everything when they escaped from the flooding river. She shivered, suddenly aware of seasons beyond seasons leading up to this moment, raining down like leaves in leaf fall, and stretching back into unfathomable darkness. "Are you okay?" Brackenfur murmured into her ear. "This is going to end without any more clawed fur. Don't worry." Hollypaw straightened up. "I'm fine." Blackstar stepped back with a curt nod to Firestar. "Take your warriors away," he growled, "and don't think they'll get off so lightly if we catch them on our territory again." "Believe me, they're not getting off lightly." Firestar's voice was grim. He beckoned with his tail for Birchfall and Berrynose to climb the slope. Berrynose stalked across the border, his eyes narrowed in fury, but Birchfall paused and dipped his head respectfully to Blackstar. "Aw, we're very sorry," he meowed. "I promise we won't do it again." "See that you don't," the Shadow Clan leader retorted. He turned on his own warriors. "Carry on with your patrol," he snapped, before vanishing back into the break-in. While the Shadow Clan cats renewed their scent markers, Firestar led the two young warriors a couple tail lengths from the border. "Go back to camp. Wait for me underneath the high ledge." "Yes, Firestar," Birchfall mewed. He and Berrynose disappeared around the hazel thicket. Berrynose cast an angry glance back at his clan leader, but Firestar had turned away and didn't see. "What the?" "Let's finish this patrol," Firestar meowed, "and make sure the scent markers are clear this time." Hollypaw followed as he led the way into the break-in along the top of the hollow. She thought of the strange, almost nostalgic mood between the two leaders when they talked about the forest. Blackstar felt they didn't belong here because it wasn't where their ancestors had lived, but some cats had lived here a long time ago. So where were they now? The questions. They have no answers. Yeah, I have to give Berrynose a Giga Chat voice. He's rude. Crackers. Delectable. Berrynose is so annoying, right? Like, why do you have to be like that? Profile. No. Just realized I had a little mistake. There we go. Where'd it go? There it is. Chapter 4. Hollypaw slipped out under the brambles that sheltered the apprentice den. Gray clouds moved sluggishly across the sky, and she could scent rain on the breeze. Shivering, she sat down, licking one paw and rubbing it over her face. The dawn patrol was just leaving. Dustpelt was in the lead, with Mouse Whisker, Sandstorm, and Honeypaw. Ferncloud popped her head out of the nursery, sniffed the air, and disappeared inside again. A heartbeat later, Birchfall and Berrynose appeared from the Elder's Den, each carrying a huge wad of moss. Hollypaw's tail curled up in amusement. Good! Firestar put them back on apprentice duties. She watched them cross the camp and vanish into the thorn tunnel. Make sure you squeeze all the water out of the fresh moss, she called mischievously. Mousefur will claw you if her pelt gets damp. Berrynose lashed his tail as he entered the tunnel, but neither of them stopped to reply. Berrynose doesn't have a tail. A thin drizzle set in as the rest of the camp began to stir. Lionpaw scrambled out of the apprentice den behind Hollypaw, still looking half asleep, and blundered across the camp to the dirt place tunnel. Brakenfur and Stormfur emerged from the warrior's den and headed for the fresh kill pile. Hollypaw jumped up and bounded over to her mentor. Are we going hunting? Brakenfur shook his head. All the prey will be in their holes. Maybe later. But Hollypaw's paws were itching to be doing something. She didn't want to spend the morning hanging around the camp. Can I go out by myself then? She asked. If you want, her mentor replied. Stay away from the borders, though. We don't want any more trouble like yesterday. I'll be careful, Hollypaw promised. And be back by sun-high, her mentor added. We'll have a training session. Sure, Hollypaw dashed off. As she prowled away from the stone hollow, senses straining for any sign of prey, the rain grew steadily heavier, pattering on the leaves, filling every dip in the ground with water. Each branch and tussock of grass was loaded with droplets that soaked Hollypaw's fur as she brushed past. She started to think that Brakenfur had been right, and she wouldn't catch anything, but for once that didn't bother her too much. She wanted to be out of camp, and she wanted to think. Everything seemed to be getting much more complicated. She needed the concentration on her training, but her mind was continually tugging her one way or the other, to the future and wondering if she could ever be the clan leader, or to the past and the traces of those ancient camps. She saw herself standing on the high ledge, calling a summons to her clan. Hollypaw realized she had stopped concentrating on prey. She was just standing in the forest, getting wetter and wetter. Flicking drops from her ears, she dived into a hole of a sandy bank and crouched there, watching the hissing screen of rain a mouse length from her nose. Her tongue rasped over her fur in an effort to dry herself off and get warm. She froze when she heard a scuffling from further down the hole where she was sheltering. Something big, at least as big as she was coming up from the tunnel behind her. Stupid! She scolded herself. She had been so wet she hadn't bothered to check if she had the burrow to herself. She tensed her muscles and took a gulp of air, expecting to taste fox, or even worse, badger. Instead, the scent of a cat flooded into her jaws, and it was a familiar scent too. Limp with relief, Hollypaw twisted around in the entrance to the hole. J-Paw, what are you doing down there? Her brother squeezed into the sheltered space beside her. His pelt smelled of earth and stale fox. Nothing, he mumbled, sheltering. No, you're not. Hollypaw was annoyed that he was so obviously lying. Your fur is dry. You must have been here since before this rain started. When J-Paw didn't reply, she added, You've been trying to get back down into the tunnels, haven't you? J-Paw's paws scuffed the sandy earth. What if I have? It's dangerous, Hollypaw protested. Think of what happened to Lionpaw when the roof of that badger set fell in. And remember what it was like in the cave? We nearly drowned and... I know all that, J-Paw interrupted. You're not acting as if you do. It's raining hard now. The tunnels will flood again, and you can't just stroll down there as if you were strolling into camp. Honestly, J-Pa, I don't know how you can be so mouse-brained. You don't have to go on, her brother grumbled. Anyway, I couldn't get in. It's just an old foxhole. It doesn't lead anywhere. But you tried. Why couldn't J-Pa see the trouble he was getting into? I don't see what's so special about the caves. There's nothing down there. Yes, there is. He crouched in front of her. His blue eyes gazed up at her so intensely that Hollypaw could hardly believe he was blind. He hesitated, twitching his ears, then went on. The ancient cats spoke to me. When I go to the moon pool, my paws slip into their paw prints, and I used to hear their voices on the wind, but since we rescued the kits, I haven't heard them. That's why I have to get back into the tunnels. Hollypaw stretched her neck forward and gave J-Paw a sympathetic lick on his ear. She couldn't bear to hear the sorrow in his voice. He sounded as if he had just lost something precious. J-Paw jerked his head away. You don't understand. Explain it to me then. J-Paw hesitated. His forepaws traced spirals in the earth. There were other cats in the caves, he mewed at last. Hollypaw was puzzled. What do you mean? Spirits of the ancient cats who lived here seasons ago. One of them is called Fallen Leaves. He went down there in the ceremony to make him a warrior, and he never came out. He showed me where to find the lost kits. Every hair on Hollypaw's pelt rose. The ordeal in the caves had been bad enough without the thought of invisible cats watching them. The other cat is called Rock, J-Paw went on. He's old. I mean really old. He was in the cave. He showed me that we would escape, and he helped me think of the way to do it. Hollypaw took a deep breath. Perhaps there was nothing to be afraid of. If J-Paw was right, then neither they nor the kits would be alive if it weren't for the help of the ancient cats. Why do you want to go back now? She asked. I want to know why they don't talk to me anymore. J-Paw mewed miserably. Besides, they lived here once too. They might be able to tell us the best places to hunt or shelter. We can find those things for ourselves. Hollypaw looked out at the mouth of the burrow. The rain had stopped. Above the trees, ragged patches of blue were opening up as the last clouds scudded across the sky. Sunlight sparkled on raindrops, making the whole forest shimmer. We should get back to camp, she added. But don't you understand? J-Paw's voice rose. It's important. I know it is. For a moment, Hollypaw was tempted to agree with him. When Blackstar had mentioned the ancient cats, she too had felt their fascination. She would like to know more about them, but not enough to risk her life for J-Paw's. You're important too, she mewed. Your clan needs you, J-Paw. You shouldn't put yourself in danger when there's no need. All right, J-Paw muttered. He had a mutinous look on his face. Hollypaw stifled a sigh. She knew that look well. J-Paw might agree with her now, but he would go on doing exactly what he wanted. She gave him a nudge. Let's go. J-Paw rose to his paws and shook loose earth off his pelt. Hollypaw led the way into the open, setting down her paws carefully to avoid the worst of the wet grass. Hollypaw? She halted and glanced over her shoulder. What? You won't tell any cat what I just told you? Hollypaw wasn't sure how to reply. She wanted to go straight to Firestar Leafpool and tell them about his crazy obsessions with cats that died that long ago. If any cat could stop J-Paw from risking his life, it would be his clan leader or his mentor. But J-Paw was her brother, and she would always be loyal to him first. No, I won't, she sighed. I promise. Mouse down! Hollypaw let out a cry of frustration as she leapt for the mouse, only to see it dart away from her claws and slip into safety down a hole. That was the second piece of prey she'd lost. She was starting to feel as if her paws didn't belong to her anymore. Hollypaw, you've got to put your paws down lightly. Breakenfur never lost his temper with her, but even he was sounding impatient. Remember that mouse will feel your paw steps before it hears you or scents you. Yes, I know, Hollypaw mewed. That's the first thing an apprentice learns about hunting. I'm sorry. Breakenfur, Brook, and Stormfur had taken all the apprentices into the forest for a hunting session. Hollypaw wasn't sure which of them had suggested making it into a competition. Lionpaw was winning. with one of the biggest squirrels Hollypaw had ever seen, but all the others had amassed a good pile of fresh kill. All she had managed to catch was one miserable shrew. "Is there anything bothering you?" Breakenfur asked. "You're just not concentrating today." "No," Hollypaw lied. "I'm fine." "I would be," she told herself, "if I wasn't worrying about wanting to be clan leader. Just because that's what Tigerstar wanted doesn't mean it's wrong, does it? I know I'm his kin, and I'd never do what he'd do to gain power. But what about J-Paw? If he gets himself killed looking for those ancient cats, it'll be my fault." Brooke touched her nose sympathetically to Hollypaw's ear. "I had a lot of trouble when I first came here," she admitted. "I was used to hunting on bare mountain slopes, and I couldn't get the hang of how to hunt in the forest. One thing Stormford taught me was that sometimes it helps to slide your paws forward while you're stalking. That way a mouse can't feel your paw steps. Like this," she added, rubbing her paws softly over the moss. "I never thought of that," Hollypaw meowed. "I'll give it a try." "It's important to stay away from long grass and fern, too," Brooke went on. "If you brush against them, the moving shadow will scare off prey." Hollypaw nodded. She had known that, but with everything else on her mind, she had forgotten. "You'll get the hang of it again," the tabby she-cat assured her. You'd be a great hunter in the mountains, because you have strong back legs for leaping." You need to leap when you're hunting?" Cinderpaw asked, padding up to listen. "Yes. Here in ThunderClan, you mostly catch birds on the ground, but in the tribe, we jump up to catch them when they're taking off or landing." A hint of pride tinged Brooke's voice. "We catch hawks like that, and sometimes even eagles." "How big are the eagles?" Linepaw joined them. "Do they ever carry cats away?" "Most of them aren't strong enough to take full-grown cat." Brooke sat down with her tail wrapped over her paws, while the rest of the apprentice clustered around to listen. "They might be able to take kits or tubies, but kits stay in the cave with their mothers where it's safe, and all the hunting patrols have at least one cave guard with them." "What's a tubie?" Poppypaw demanded. "And what's a cave guard?" Honeypaw added. "Your tubies," Brooke explained, sweeping her tail around to indicate all the apprentices, young cats who are learning the skills you need to be warriors. Cave guards are, well, cats who guard the cave. They're strong and trained to fight off hawks and eagles. Stormfur was a cave guard when he lived with the tribe, and I was a prey hunter." Hollypaw was puzzled. "Do you mean that cats have separate duties? You don't hunt and fight like clan cats?" "No," Brooke replied. "When kits are born, our leader chooses what they'll be. The biggest and strongest become cave guards, and the fast, nimble ones become prey hunters." "So you don't choose for yourself? I wouldn't like that," Linepaw mewed. "It feels different when you grow up with it," Brooke assured him. "Thank you for the lick, Phil!" Linepaw didn't look convinced, but before he could say any more, Poppypaw broke in. "Tell us about your leader and your medicine cat. Do StarClan choose them?" Brooke shook her head. "The tribe of Rushing Water doesn't know StarClan," she explained. She waited until the shocked gasp had died down. "The tribe of Endless Hunting walks our skies. We don't have a leader and a medicine cat. In the tribe, one cat is both. He is called the Healer, and his name is Teller of the Pointed Stones." "Or Stone Teller," Stormfur put in, padding up to sit beside his mate. "What a weird name," Poppypaw exclaimed. Her sister Honeypaw gave her a nudge. "Don't be so rude. Tribe names are different from ours, that's all." "Stone Teller has a den just off the main cave behind the waterfall," Stormfur explained. "It's full of pointed stones, rising up from the cave floor and hanging from the roof. There's a hole in the roof, and when it rains, the floor is covered with pools of water. Stone Teller looks in those reflections in the water and reads the signs there." "And he's the medicine cat as well?" Hollypaw meowed. "That's a lot of power for one cat." "Does he have a deputy?" "No, but eventually he'll have to have a tubie, an apprentice," Brooke told her. "The tribe of Endless Hunting will send him a sign so that he can choose a tiny kit who will become Stone Teller after him." Hollypaw felt a pang of envy. How much simpler it would be to have your life planned out. She wouldn't have She wouldn't have made her earlier mistake of choosing to be a medicine cat when she was really best suited to be a warrior. Sometimes her head had ached with the effort of learning all the different herbs. Training to be a warrior was tough as well, but it didn't feel like such an impossible task. There were fighting moves and hunting moves and all the details of the warrior code that had to be memorized. And if she wanted to be clan leader, she would have to learn the intricacies and relations between clan and clan. How to be diplomatic with her own warriors and the cats of the other clans, and how to react in a crisis. She remembered watching Firestar on the border the day before. She had been impressed by how calm the ThunderClan leader had stayed, even when his own warriors were clearly at fault. That was the kind of leader Hollypaw wanted to be, one who relied on the warrior code to keep the peace instead of dragging her clan into unnecessary battles. A leader who wasn't selfish or greedy, who put the good of her own clan above everything, but still remembered the rights of the other clans in the forest. "I think there's a mouse under the roots over there." Stormfur broke into her thoughts, pointing with his ears to the bottom of a nearby bush. Beech tea. Beech tea? Beech tree. Why don't you see if you could catch it? Okay. The other apprentices scattered, keeping well away from the beech tree to give Hollypaw the best chance. Whiskers quivering, she tasted the air. Vole, not mouse, she decided. A heartbeat later, she spotted it, a plump creature scuffling among the debris under the tree. She began to creep forward, sliding her paws over the moss in the way Brooke had shown her. The vole seemed not to notice her at first, but as she dropped into a crouch, ready to pounce, it froze for a heartbeat, then darted away. Hollypaw let out a yowl. Her first pounce brought her to the spot where the vole had been. Instantly, she leaped again and trapped it between her front paws, and just before it slipped into the safety of a crack between two rocks, she killed it with one blow of her paws. "Well done!" Breakenfur meowed. A warm feeling of triumph flooded Hollypaw from ear to tail tip. She picked up her prey and turned back to her mentor. See what I said about your strong back legs?" Brooke reminded her, touching Hollypaw's shoulder with the tip of her tail. "That was a great leap." "I think that's enough for one day," Breakenfur added. "Let's carry all the prey back to camp. The clan will eat well tonight." As Hollypaw followed him back to the clearing, carrying her vole and shrew, she kept casting sidelong glances at Brooke. She must have loved Stormfur a lot to give up everything she knew to come with him to a strange place and a strange way of life. Curiosity bit at her, sharp as fox fangs. She wanted to visit the tribe and see how the cats lived when they knew right from the start what kind of life they would have and what the responsibilities would be. But they're so far away. Hollypaw let out a sigh. "I don't suppose I'll ever travel as far as the mountains." Well, that's pretty good foreshadowing of what's going to happen soon. Chapter 5. Cold night air whispered through J-Paw's fur. Up above, he knew the half-moon would be floating in the clear sky. His mentor, Leafpool, padded beside him, following the stream that divided WindClan territory from ThunderClan's. J-Paw's belly was churning with anticipation. Would Rock speak to him at the Moonpool? The thought that he might encounter only the cats of StarClan made his tail twitch with impatience. StarClan wasn't important, after all. They were only clan cats who had moved on to a different place. The prophecy had said that he would have the power of the stars in his paw. That must mean that he would be more powerful than StarClan. So why should he waste time walking with them in his dreams? Dang, J-Paw! Holy moly! He needed to go further back, to find the ancient cats who had once gathered at the Moonpool. They must be the truly powerful cats who would help him find his destiny. It's Lionpaw's and Hollypaw's destiny, too. J-Paw did his best to ignore the small voice niggling at the back of his mind. His brother and sister would have to find their own source of power. He had been chosen to be a medicine cat, so this must be the right way for him alone. "Leafpool, wait for us!" The distant call came from WindClan territory. Leafpool halted, and J-Paw waited by her side. Tasting the air, he picked up the scents of 3 cats, Barkface and Crestlerpaw, and Willowpaw, who must have met up with the WindClan cats on her way from RiverClan. "Where's Mothwing?" Leafpool asked anxiously as the other medicine cats caught up. "She's not ill, is she?" "No, she's fine." Willowpaw replied, but beach fur has an infected bee sting, so Mothwing thought she'd better stay in the camp and look after him. Huh, J-Paw thought, and hedgehogs fly. He could guess why Mothwing wasn't with her apprentice. The infected warrior was just an excuse. Mothwing didn't have any connection with Starkland. She must have decided that she could get a good night's sleep in her own den instead of trekking all the way up to the moon pool to have it there. Hello, J-Paw, Willowpaw mewed. Her voice was cool and polite. Hello, Willowpaw. Okay, I know you don't like me. I'm not all that besotted with you either. Hi, J-Paw. Kestrelpaw sounded more friendly. How's the prey running in ThunderClan? I must bid you adieu and farewell for now, but I will return next time or sooner. I hope you enjoyed the stream and the rest of your day. Bye, Saki. Thank you so much for dropping by. Fine, thanks, J-Paw replied. Before he had to think of anything else to say, he caught the strong ShadowClan scent of another cat bounding up behind them. I thought I'd missed you, Little Cloud panted. We would have waited for you, Leafpool mewed. The cat set off for the moon pool. J-Paw felt Cresslerpaw padding along at his side. Hey, J-Paw, he began. What's it like, being blind? Well, you can't see, Mousebrain. J-Paw felt his neck fur bristle at the stupid question. Everything's dark, but I can hear and scent okay, so that's how I find my way around. That's really tough. That's rough, buddy. The other apprentice's sympathy made J-Paw flex his claws. From the sound of his voice and the whisper of his paws on the moorland tuff, he had pretty good idea where Kressler's paw's ear was. How do you like that slashed, huh? I manage, he retorted. Quickening his pace, he caught up to Little Cloud. His paws itched to run on ahead, but that would draw too much attention to the fact that he walked here in his dreams when he could see. He couldn't wait to get to the moon pool. But after he had paced down the spiral track, feeling his paws slip into the paw prints of those long-ago cats, after he had touched his nose to the water and settled himself comfortably, J-Paw found it hard to sleep. All around the pool, he could hear the other cats breathing sink into rhythmic patterns of deep sleep, while he stayed abstinently awake. Come on, he muttered. What's the matter with you? For once, he didn't want to enter the others' dreams. He wanted a dream of his own, to wake underneath the hill, the tunnels where he had met rock and fallen leaves. If he didn't manage it now, it could be a whole moon before he had another chance to visit the moon pool. He closed his eyes, willing sleep to come, but he could still feel the damp rock beneath his paws and hear the sound of the waterfall and the breathing of the cats around him. Stretching his jaws in a yawn, he opened his eyes again. His fur prickled with excitement as he realized that he could see. Cordy! Hi, Cordy! Mega Man! In the land of Cordy Caps, so smooth-brained and grand, they tackle Mega Man with a controller in hand. From Moon's Tower to Pebbles, they dash and they dive through lizards and squids in a quest to survive. Teabagged and blinded, they laugh at each plight, but with goblin-like stealth, they persist through the night, collecting their treasures with spirits in tow. Oh, the places they'll go in this robot-filled show. Hi! That was a really good poem. I like that one. That was a good one for you, Cordy. I hope you had fun playing Mega Man. I'm gonna keep reading though, okay, Cordy? Where was I? My internet decided it wanted to have a die. No! That's terrible. Oh, there we are. Oof. Instantly, his ears twitched in frustration. He wasn't in the underground cave. Instead, he had never left the moon pool. He could see the curled-up bodies of his companions and reflected starlight glimmering in the water. Now what? He demanded. A quiet voice spoke behind him. You wanted to speak with me. J-Paw spun around, almost tripping over his own paws. Rock stood in front of him. His long, twisted claws scraped on the bare rock. Here in the open, out of the shadows of his cave, his bare skin looked raw and painful, and his bulging eyes glowed silver in his disfigured face. With an unexpected quiver of fear, J-Paul wondered if Rock could see him or if he only sensed his presence. "Why did you stop talking to me?" J-Paul asked. "I tried and tried, but you wouldn't answer." Rock dismissed the question with a flick of his rat-like tail. "I'm here now," he rasped. "Say what you have to say." "Are you part of StarClan?" Rock blinked. "No. I share tongues with the ones who came before." "You mean like Fallen Leaves, who went into the tunnels to prove themselves?" "No." Rock's voice grated like shifting stones, more ancient even than those. "Then where did they come from?" J-Paul meowed, exasperated. "Is there a set of ancestors who are older than all the others? Did we all come from them? Fallen Leaves cats and the tribe cats and the clans?" Rock turned his silvery gaze on J-Paw. "There will always be stories older than any cat remembers," he rumbled. "That's not an answer." "Then where did you come from?" The old cat stood silent for many heartbeats, staring out across the moon pool as if he could look back across the abyss of time that separated J-Paw from those ancient cats. "You will find the answers in the mountains," he murmured at last, "though they may not be the ones you most want to hear." "What do you mean? Tell me now!" J-Paw insisted. But Rock was beginning to fade. The patches of reflected moonlight on his skin, the silver gleam of his bulging eyes, thinned out like mist until J-Paw could see nothing but the shimmer of starlight on the rock and wall. He shivered a sudden cold breeze. "Come back!" he yowled. There was no reply. The star shine faded, and scents of tree and bracken filled his mouth. He was standing in a dusky forest in the midst of fern and grasses. Moonlight dappled the ground as it shone through gaps in the branches above his head. The air was still warm, full of tempting scents of prey. Just ahead of him, Leafpool was following a narrow path that wound between clumps of bracken. She paused and glanced back over her shoulder. "I wondered if you'd join me," she mewed. J-Paw was about to reply when the bushes just ahead of Leafpool rustled and a group of StarClan cats burst out into the open. J-Paw spotted prey scurrying away from their claws. A blur-furred she-cat halted briefly to mew. "Greetings, Leafpool." Leafpool dipped her head, but the she-cat bounded onwards before she could speak. Another cat, a powerful white tom, gave J-Paw a friendly flick over the ear with his tail as he sped past. Most of the StarClan warriors were intent on their prey. Their eyes were bright with delight in the hunt, their pelts gleaming and their muscles rippled in the moonlight. J-Paw watched as each cat pounced on its prey and turned to race away with the limp body dangling from its jaws. He supposed they were taking it to some starry, fresh kill pile. Leafpool padded up to him and touched her nose to his shoulder. "You see that silver tabby over there?" She pointed with her tail to where a beautiful she-cat was leaping to catch a plump foal. "That's Bye, Wibbly Wobbly! I hope you have a great day!" "That's Feathertail. She was Stormfur's sister. She died in the mountains." J-Paw gazed curiously at the cat, wondering if she knew anything about the mountain cat's ancestors. "Can we go talk to her?" "She might not wait for us," Leafpool replied. "She'll want to take her prey back to the StarClan camp." "I want to ask her..." J-Paw broke off as Feathertail bounded away, but she didn't follow the other clan cats. She headed in a different direction, where the trees and branches were thicker. "Where's she going?" "I don't know." Leafpool looked troubled. "Feathertail, wait!" She set off after the silver tabby, and J-Paw raced along at her side. They plunged through the dense undergrowth and came into a clearing. A stream ran through it, and on the other side the trees gave way to rocky slopes covered in stunted bushes. "Feathertail!" Leafpool called again. The she-cat paused on the bank of the stream and looked over her shoulder at them. "Where are you going?" Leafpool panted, dashing up to her. Feathertail set down her foal. "This fresh kill is not for StarClan," she explained. "I bear responsibility to other cats, ones who still need the help of the clans, even though many moons have passed." "Other cats?" Leafpool touched her nose to Feathertail's ear. "Are you talking about the tribe of Rushing Water? Haven't you done enough for them? You gave your life to save them from a Sharptooth." "A shared past counts for a lot." Feathertail replied, her blue eyes glowing with emotion, even if it was brief. She pressed her muzzle against Leafpool's, then picked up her prey, leaped lightly across the stream, and was swallowed up by the shadows under the bushes. Mouse dung, J-Paw thought. I never got to ask her anything. Letting out a faint sigh, Leafpool headed back into the trees. As J-Paw followed her, he picked up a silver glimmer in the corner of his eye. Glancing around, he spotted Rock, crouched under a bush. The ancient cat's sightless eyes gazed straight at him. Then he heaved himself to his paws and padded off in the direction Feathertail had taken. J-Paw shivered. Somehow, StarClan, the ancient cats, and the tribe of rushing water all seemed to be merging to shape the destiny of the clans by the lake. It made sense to J-Paw to have the power of the stars in his paws. He would need to have power over all the ancestors, past and present. Shadows pressed around him as he plunged into the undergrowth again. The lush forest scents faded away, and he felt rock beneath his paws. He could hear the gentle splash of the waterfall, and he knew he was crouching once again beside the moon pool. He opened his eyes on darkness. Hi, girl! Welcome back. I'm still reading. Around him, he could hear the other cats waking from their dreams. They said little, and Leafpool didn't speak to him at all as they climbed the spiral path and set off across the moorland back towards the lake. J-Paw could feel her anxiety like a swarm of stinging insects. He waited impatiently for the other cats to get their goodbyes and head off towards their own territories. As soon as he and Leafpool were alone, he demanded, "What do you think you're dreaming? Are you going to tell Firestar?" Leafpool hesitated, and when she spoke, her voice was troubled. "It sounds as if the tribe of rushing water is in some sort of trouble," she replied. "I'm not sure whether I should tell Firestar. Whatever's happening, it doesn't seem as if ThunderClan cats would be affected." J-Paw twitched his tail in frustration. How could he discover his destiny if his mentor was going to pretend she never had the dream? What about Stormfur and Brook? If there's something wrong in the mountains, they should be told. I don't know. Her mew was soft and uncertain. You could be right. Yes, perhaps I should tell Firestar. But ThunderClan isn't involved, so I don't think he'll do anything. ThunderClan might be more involved than Leafpool realized, J-Paw thought. As he followed his mentor along the border stream towards camp, at least I'm involved. He bared his teeth as if he were about to snap up a juicy piece of prey. There was only one way to discover the truth about his powers. Somehow, he would have to find a way to go to the mountains. How do I go back to the... Man, I really need to get, like... There's, like... I've had this splotch on my face. And it's, like... Ugh. I don't know, it's not going away. And it's been really itchy the last few days. And I'm just, like, scraping off dead skin. Why is there so much dead skin on this patch? How do I get rid of it? How does it get better? I don't know. I don't know. I wish I did know. Also, I don't know why I don't have my new emotes yet. Not the static ones, but I have animated ones. And 2 days ago, they had finished them. And then they said, oh yeah, okay, we'll try and send them as quickly as possible. But why is it taking? Like, why is it hard to send them? I don't know. Now, a verse from our collective tale. A wild raid from Cordy Cap. So grand, Mega Man tales in the chat did expand. Saki waved by with a heartfelt adieu, while Snicklefritz shares tales anew. Wibbly wobbly's off with a swift farewell, as Cordy's net took a tumble and fell. Pumpkin lurks in the back so sly, as Nono streams on, though voice may run dry. Quotes and giggles in the air tonight, Nono's Carnival's chat is quite the sight! Wow. Ooh, 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 oh, ooh, 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 oh, ooh. I want to get like, I guess I could try and animate it myself, like those old, like Caramel Dancer, Dancin', and the Leak song, like those like animated things that were like essentially like animated memes on YouTube back in the day. And you would just like watch a bazillion of them of like the show that you were watching. I miss that. Those are good times. Oops. Wrong thing. Chapter 6. We're on page 85. So we're almost done today. We've almost got our 100 pages in. Seems like they're gonna be going to the mountains. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but probably in the next chapter or two they'll have decided to go. Poppy Paw dived forward. Lion Paw could see she was trying to use the move he had taught her in their earlier training session, the one Tiger Star had shown him. But when she tried to hook out Honey Paw's legs from under her, Honey Paw was too fast. Leaping backward, she met Poppy Paw head-on and delivered 2 blows to her nose before darting away. You need to be quicker than that. Oh wait, this is Barry Nose. I need to give him a like a bro voice. You need to be quicker than that. Wait. Lionpaw bristled. Firestar had released the 2 young warriors from their apprentice duties, but didn't Barry Nose have anything better to do than interfere in the training sessions? What is he doing at the training sessions? He's not even a mentor. There's no point in him being there. He was sprawled on a rock at the edge of the clearing, making loud comments on the apprentice's performance. That was very good, he remarked condescendingly to Honey Paw. Your moves are coming along nicely. Thanks, Barry Nose. Honey Paw blinked adoringly at the cream-colored warrior. Lion Paw stifled a twinge of jealousy. Not long ago, Honey Paw had seemed to like him the best. It was hard to lose her admiration so soon after he had been forced to give up his friendship with Heatherpaw. Your turn, Lion Paw. Barry Nose broke into his thoughts. Let's see what you can do. Who made you my mentor? Lion Paw glanced around the clearing for Ashfur, who should be in charge of the training session, but he was several fox lengths away, demonstrating a move to Hollypaw. What? Come on, you lazy lump, Barry Nose urged him. You'll never get to be a warrior sitting on your tail all day. No, Lionpaw gritted his teeth. If I looked at you, I'd think that's all warriors do. Come on, Cinderpaw, he meowed, beckoning with his tail to the gray apprentice who sat at the side of the clearing. Let's practice. Yes, Cardi. She's being that random uncle that goes to every child's baseball game. He's like... No, you know what he is? He's like a senior that came back. Like a senior that just graduated high school and came back and is walking the halls through the high school like he owns the place. Like... Hey, I'm like the star pupil here. Like, everybody knows who I am. The teachers are so happy to see me. I know all these, like, things. You guys are just, like, babies. Like that kind of feeling. Cinderpaw bounced up to him, her fur bristling with eagerness and her tail fluffed out. In conclusion, let's jump him. She was moving confidently, Lionpaw thought, as if the leg she had injured felt fine. As she approached, she aimed a blow at his ear and with sheathed claws. He dodged to one side and tried to unbalance her by butting his head into her shoulder, but Cinderpaw stayed on her feet and wrapped her forepaw around his neck, thrusting him to the ground. Lionpaw battered at her belly with his hind paws. After a few heartbeats, Cinderpaw let go and sprang away from him, waiting for him to get back up again. That was great, he panted. He knew he would have won eventually. He knew he would have won eventually. Cinderpaw was glowing with pride that she was getting her fighting skills back again. Let's try again. You know, Lionpaw, you got that move all wrong. Berrynose interrupted. You should have never let her knock you over. If that had been a real fight, she could have bitten your throat out. Lionpaw spun around to face him. Hot fury flooded through him from ears to tail tip. I don't suppose you found out that when you were fighting Shadow Clan, he taunted. Berrynose sprang off the rock, his ears flattened and his neck fur standing on end. Don't talk to a warrior like that, he spat. Then stop being such a know-it-all, Lionpaw retorted. You're not my mentor, so stay out of my fur. For 2 mouse tails, he would have hurled himself at Berrynose and raked his claw across the cream warrior's muzzle, but he knew he would be in big trouble if he attacked a clanmate for real, not as part of a training bout. Turning his back on Berrynose, he stormed off to the side of the clearing, where he stood with his flanks heaving, trying to control the waves of rage that surged through him. Just wait until I'm a warrior, he vowed under his breath. Then I'll show you who's best at fighting. Take it easy, Lionpaw. The calm voice felt like a draft of cool water. At first, Lionpaw thought it must be Tigerstar. Oh, it wasn't a dark... Sorry, I used the wrong voice. Take it easy, Lionpaw. The calm voice felt like a draft of cool water. At first, Lionpaw thought it must be Tigerstar, and he looked around for the shadowy tabby figure. Instead, he spotted Stormfur sunning himself in a quiet patch of sunlight at the foot of an oak tree. Awkwardly, Lionpaw dipped his head to him. Sorry, he mewed, but I can't stand it when Berrynose acts like he's the clan leader. Stormfur let out a sympathetic purr. I know I shouldn't let him get to me, but I can't help it, Lionpaw confessed. Sometimes it's the other apprentices too. Well, not Hollypaw, but the rest of them. I feel like I have to be the best all the time. Part of him was horrified that he'd blurted all that out to a senior warrior, but there was no reason for Stormfur to care about his problems. Why? The gray-furred Tom asked. I don't know why, Lionpaw hesitated, thoughts battering his mind like a storm, then added, I suppose I do know. Really? It's because I'm Firestar's kin. He's never been a leader. There's never been a leader like him, and every cat will expect me to be just as good as him because I'm related to him. And Tigerstar, Stormfur prompted. Lionpaw dug his claws into the ground. How could Stormfur possibly know about his meetings with Tigerstar and Hawkfrost? Tigerstar? He gulped. Stormfur blinked at him. I know what problems your father had. Bremaclaw was always afraid the clan would never trust him because they hated Tigerstar so much. Lionpaw had never thought of that before. It was hard to imagine his father as a young cat, uncertain of his place in the clan. What was my father like? He asked, padding up to Stormfur and sitting beside him in the comforting splash of sunlight. The fur on his shoulders began to lie flat again. He had almost forgotten the quarrel with Berrynose. What was it like when you went on that quest together? Terrifying. Memory glowed in Stormfur's amber eyes. Fear and courage, humor and friendship, all at once. I don't know what was harder, traveling through unfamiliar, dangerous territory, trying to get along with cats from other clans. We all came back changed. He paused to rasp his tongue over his shoulder, and then went on. First, we seemed to argue all the time, but it was usually your father who had the best ideas, and pretty soon we realized that he was just the natural leader among us. Tell me what happened, Lionpaw prompted. 4 clans, one in each clan, had a dream telling them to go to the sundown place, Stormfur began. They were supposed to listen to what Midnight told them. None of us realized that Midnight was a badger. Linepaw nodded. He and his littermates had never met the badger who helped the clans find their new home, but his mother had told them stories about her. It must have been really hard, Linepaw mewed, trying to imagine getting along with cats from other clans. Okay, he'd been friendly with Heatherpaw, but suppose he'd had to cooperate with Breezepaw or warriors from Shadow Clan. Ori, hi, Ori! Ori! Oh no, my shoutouts are cooldown for 8 more minutes! You were playing Deep Rock Galactic Survivor? Is that like you're a troll and you're digging in the world? Is that what that one is? No, hi, Ori. So nice to see you, guys. If you don't know who Ori is a wonderful sweetheart. Sorry, my roommate is talking in the other room, and I'm trying to decide if she's on a phone call or if she's talking with the cats. This one is like Vampire Survivors. Oh, I don't know what that is, but it sounds good. Is it because it's Survivor? That must be it. Guys, welcome. I'm reading today, so it's a pretty chill stream. Most people like to do work while I read, and yeah, it's a roguelite, if that helps. Oh, okay, yeah, that definitely helps. Oh, I know what Vampire Survivors is. Okay. That makes me think of Hollow Cure. I want to play that game eventually. I never did, but it's still really popular. Yes! Nice. Okay. Bye. Go and get some rest if you need some. Thank you for working. I'm in a new place again. Hi, Cole Bisme. That's a nice little frog friend. I am just going to be reading today. We're reading 100 pages. Me as frog. You're the frog. Nice. Kobe! Is that you munching? Nice. But yes, thank you so much for the raid. My name is Nono. Enjoy this. You're starving? I read that as enjoy the starving. Oh, haha, this is another person I follow because someone fixed the emotions in front of me. Oh, follow it. Wow, that's a long time. Wow. You've been here for... Oh my god, you have him as yours. What's his name again? What's the... Gosh, what's the... Thank you, Kaito! And thank you for the like, Kaito! Yay! What's the... New Sheep Animal Crossing? Sheep, not shell. Yes, sheep. Dom! Yeah, see, Kobe. Do we play Fortnite around here? We do. Not recently, but I love playing Fortnite. Oh my god, I thought it just hit my power button. But look. See on the side? Everybody has a villager. You're Dom. Do you see? I love Dom. And his little ooh-woo eyes. His funny little ooh-woo eyes. Alright, I'm gonna continue reading. Please make yourself comfortable. Or head out. Or do whatever you gotta do. Where were we? I see. It must have been really hard, Lion Paw mewed, trying to imagine getting along with cats from the other clans. Okay, he'd been friendly with Heatherpaw, but suppose he had to cooperate with Breezepaw, warriors from Shadow Clan. It wasn't all that bad, Stormfur replied, his tail curled in amusement. There was a time your mother got stuck in a two-leg fence. She was spitting with fury. She couldn't move. Lionpaw let out a little meow of laughter, imagining Squirrelflight stuck and furious. Did my father rescue her? Stormfur shook his head. No. Brambleclaw was thinking about digging up the fence post and thought we might bite through the shiny fence stuff. Meanwhile, Tawnypelt and Feathertail smoothed down your mother's fur with some dock leaves and got her out. Abby, hi! Bunny invasion from the light side of the moon. The plushies are rising up. It's Bunny's time to shine. Let's go, boys! You know what's cooler than dodging bullets right in the school streamer? Your raid message is so cute. Toho! More Toho. Very nice, very nice. It would have been very fitting if Toho played right now, but I don't have that overlay set up on the reading streams. Thank you! I hope you won a lot. Can you win Toho Project? Is there a win? Like a way to get to the end? Is there an end? These are questions. Or is it more like, you know, like Muse Dash, where it's just like playing songs over and over and then getting higher scores? And then technically you quote unquote win if you there are 6 stages. Oh, cool. 6 of them. I see cute emotes. Yes. Got him. Got him. Isn't that the way? That's what I do in Discord. I like find Discord servers that have really cute emotes and then I join them so I can use them. Alright, I'm gonna continue reading Abby. Thank you so much for the raid, everybody who came by. Feel free to head out, get some food, get some drinks, whatever you need to do. Go on and do it. Oh, thank you for the follow, Echolope. I'm in the middle of reading Warrior Cat's Outcast. We began it this day, and we are on page 90 right now. Oh yes, feel free to fish if you would like. Yes, we'll definitely getting me some food. Yum, 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 yum. Excellent. And yeah, if you think Abby's emotes are cute, Abby drew her emotes, so that's even cuter. Abby's very good at drawing, and her commissions are open, so. Let's see. I wish I'd been there, Lionpaw mewed. I wouldn't have missed it. Even though we were scared a lot of the time, or tired, or hungry, we all knew we were doing our best to help our clans. And you became really good friends with my father. Stormfur twitched his whiskers. We weren't all that friendly to begin with. I was jealous of Brambleclaw. Why? Lionpaw asked, surprised. Because I liked your mother too much. But a blind rabbit could have seen that Brambleclaw was the cat she liked best, even though they spent most of their time arguing. Yes, Pride's also drawn by Abby, and they're really cute. I really love the smiley one. The one's like, Dee! You know, in like anime where they go, Dee! So cute. Ah, no! Nom 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 nom. Thanks for the tomato sauce. The tomato soup. You like squirrel flight? Linepaw blinked in astonishment. Suppose Stormfur had been his father instead of Brambleclaw. I would have been a different cat. I've never met a cat like her, Stormfur admitted. So bright and brave and determined, even though she was only an apprentice then. But when we stayed with the tribe in the mountains, and when I met Brooke, I knew that she was the right cat for me. His amber eyes clouded, and he fell silent. Linepaw couldn't understand why he should look like that, when he'd been talking about finding Brooke. What's the matter? Stormfur let out a long sigh. My sister, Feathertail, was with us on the journey, he explained. She was a beautiful, warm-hearted cat. She died in the mountains. Linepaw dared to reach out with his tail and rested on the gray warrior's shoulder. What happened? The tribe was being hunted by a mountain lion. There was a prophecy that a silver cat would come to save them. At first they thought it was me, but it was Feathertail. She died saving them. His voice shook. I had to leave her there, buried in the mountains. I'm so sorry. No, not like this. Not like this. Can't believe this. I can't believe you've done this. Stormfur licked his chest for a few times and jerked his head as if he were shaking off a fly. Moon's passed, and you have to carry on. I hope you don't mind me asking. Of course not. Stormfur sounded more like himself again. You can ask me anything you like. If I can help at all, I'll be glad to. Thanks. Linepaw felt as warm and comforted as if he'd just eaten a plump piece of fresh kill. It's easier to talk to you than a ThunderClan cat. Oh, sorry. He broke off, scuffling his paws with embarrassment. I didn't mean... That's okay. Stormfur meowed. I know what you meant. It's true that I'm only a visitor here, however loyal I feel towards Firestar and your father and the other ThunderClan cats. Where do you feel most at home? Linepaw mewed curiously. In RiverClan, or with the tribe of Rushing Water? Or in ThunderClan? Stormfur didn't reply at once. His eyes grew thoughtful. He licked one paw and drew it over his ear a few times. I'm a RiverClan cat at heart, he replied at last. That's where I grew up, and that's where I became a warrior. But that was back in the forest, and no cat has a home there now. Right now I feel loyal to ThunderClan, because you welcomed me and Brooke. And it's good to live in the same clan as Graystripe and get to know him better. Will you stay here forever? I don't know. This isn't Brooke's home, and if she doesn't want to stay, I won't force her. Why don't you go back up to the mountains, then? A somber look crept into Stormfur's eyes. It's not that easy. You could go for a visit, Linepaw suggested. No, it's too far. Stormfur mewed briskly. He rose to his paws to give his fur a shake. Come on, it's time we were going back to camp. Glancing over his shoulders, Linepaw saw the training session was over. Ashfur and the other apprentices were headed towards the stone hollow. There was no sign of Berrynose. You go on ahead, he mewed to Stormfur. I'll be back in a while. Okay. Stormfur bounded off to catch up with Ashfur and the others. Thanks, Stormfur! Linepaw called after him. Stormfur waved his tail in reply as he vanished into the bushes. Linepaw turned and padded into the trees in the opposite direction of the camp. He paused to make sure that Stormfur really had gone, then picked up the pace until he was racing towards the WindClan border. Panting, he halted at the edge of the stream, looking across the open moorland. The sun was going down, washing the surface of the lake with scarlet and throwing his long shadows to one side. Linepaw enjoyed the warmth of its rays, and the gentle breeze ruffled his fur. But the landscape ahead of him looked bleak and unwelcoming. There was no cover, no soft moss, no undergrowth where prey could hide. Linepaw knew he could never live in WindClan. He would miss the trees. He could hear them now, just behind him. The faint creak of the branches and the rustle of their leaves in the wind. He could never have given that up, however much he loved Heatherpaw. And she could never have lived in ThunderClan, he realized. She felt trapped under the trees. She loved the open moorland, the tough, springy grass, and the wild dash across the slopes in pursuit of rabbits. Stormfur really must have loved Brooke to give up his home and stay with her in the mountains. Lionpaw raised his head and gazed into the distance. He could just make out a dark, misty band on the horizon, where the mountains lay. Brooke had pointed it out to him once, on the border patrol. He wondered if she felt her paws tugging her towards it. What do the mountains look like? He wondered. All his life he had heard about the great journey and the territories the clans had crossed to find the new home by the lake. Lionpaw felt his paws itching to explore. He longed to discover what lay beyond ThunderClan's borders, beyond all the clans' borders. The world was so wide, and he had seen so little of it. There was so much out there, beyond the reach of the warrior code, beyond the knowledge even of the medicine cats and elders. It was hard to wrench his paws away from the border and start padding back towards camp. It's as though the mountains are calling me. But how would he ever answer the call? They're all getting the sign. They're all getting the sign. Chapter 7. I've got a plan, Hollypaw announced. She and Cinderpaw had cleared the old bedding out of the elder's den and reclined fresh moss from around the roots of an old oak tree. Shreds of mist drifted among the trees, while overhead the sun was struggling to break through a covering of cloud. Cinderpaw stopped with her claws deep in the soft green covering. What plan? It's about becoming a warrior. Hollypaw left a ball of moss she was gathering and padded over to sit on a twisted root beside her friend. It's so confusing. Learning about fighting and hunting and all the stuff about the warrior code. I can't think of everything at once, so I'm going to concentrate on one thing at a time. Cinderpaw blinked. I don't get it. Hollypaw sighed. It seems straightforward enough for her. I'm going to start with hunting. If a clan isn't well fed, it can't defend its borders and fight battles. I'll practice and practice until I'm really good at it. Then I'll go on to something else. Her friend started clawing up the moss again. I think that sounds mouse-brained, she mewed. I mean, you can't stop doing everything else, can you? Are you going to leave me to finish the bedding while you go off looking for prey? Hollypaw swiped out a paw, claws sheathed, just missing Cinderpaw's ear. No, of course not. I know I'll have to do duties and training sessions and all that, but I'm gonna concentrate on hunting. Thank you for the hot pan! Cinderpaw let out a faint snort of amusement. I'd like to hear what Breakinfur has to say if he thinks you're not concentrating on fighting. As exasperated, Hollypaw snagged up a bit of moss and tossed it at her friend. She expected Cinderpaw to toss some back at her, but instead the young she-cat stopped what she was doing and looked up at her, blue eyes serious. Honestly, Hollypaw, I don't think this is a good idea. Being a warrior means you have to do everything together. You can't put stuff in order. I know I'm not explaining it very well, but... No, you're not! Hollypaw snapped, then stopped herself. Cinderpaw was her best friend. She didn't want to quarrel with her. Sorry, Cinderpaw, she went on. I just think this will be a way that will work for me. You don't have to join in if you don't want to. Cinderpaw reached up to touch Hollypaw's nose with her ear. It's okay. And you know I'll help if I can. By the time Hollypaw and Cinderpaw had finished refreshing the elders' bedding, Thornclaw and Breakinfur were gathering the apprentices together in the middle of the clearing. Are we hunting? Hollypaw asked eagerly. It was Thornclaw who replied. No, Cloudtail and I are taking our apprentices to the mossy clearing for some advanced battle training. You and Linepaw can come along and watch. And join in if you want to, Breakinfur added. Cinderpaw gave an excited little bounce. Let's go! Her mentor, Cloudtail, patted up behind her and flicked her on the shoulder with his tail. You be careful on that leg. If I'm asking too much of you, I want to know. Cinderpaw's excitement faded. My leg's fine, Cloudtail. It won't hold me back from being a warrior, will it? I hope not. We'll have to see, was Cloudtail's discouraging response. Hollypaw pressed her muzzle against Cinderpaw's. Don't worry, you will be a warrior. I just know it. Ashfur came padding over with Linepaw from the apprentice den. Are we all ready? The Grey Warrior asked. Where's Honeypaw? Sandstorm took her out on a hunting patrol, Breakinfur replied. She'll join us later. The clouds had cleared away and the sun was burning up the mist. In the shadow of the trees, the grass was still laden with dew. Honeypaw brushed past a clump of fern and flicked her ears as droplets fell on her head. The undergrowth was full of exciting scents and sounds. She longed to put her plan into practice on a hunting patrol, instead of going to a training session where she would have to spend most of her time watching. With 4 apprentices and their mentors, the clearing was crowded. Hollypaw sat in a super sunny spot on one side with Breakenfur. Lionpaw and Ashfur were a couple of tail lengths away. Hollypaw tried to hide a yawn as Cloudtail and Thornclaw demonstrated a move to the 2 older apprentices. Cloudtail leapt into action with a twist so that he came down on Thornclaw's shoulder. "Now you try," he invited Cinderpaw. Cinderpaw crouched to face her mentor and launched herself into the air. She got the twist right, but she hadn't leapt high enough, so that instead of landing on Cloudtail's shoulder, she blundered clumsily into his side, and he pinned her down with one paw on her chest. "Not bad for a first try," he commented, letting her get up, "but you need more strength than that leap. Is your leg bothering you?" Cinderpaw blinked. "No, it's fine. I'll get it right next time." "And don't forget," Thornclaw added, "in a real fight, your enemy won't stand still and wait for you to land on him. You've got to anticipate his next move." "Let me have a try," Poppypaw meowed. As this training session went on, Hollypaw noticed that Lionpaw was fidgeting. "I can do that," he told Ashfur. "Can I try it?" Ashfur hesitated. "It's advanced stuff," he pointed out. "There's no point in trying before you're ready." "I am ready," Lionpaw insisted, his fur starting to fluff up. Ashfur shrugged. "Don't say I didn't warn you." Hollypaw watched nervously as Lionpaw and his mentor moved out into the clearing, well away from the other practice session. "Go on, then. Show me," Ashfur mewed. Lionpaw leaped into the air, sunlight turning his golden pelt to flame. With all 4 paws off the ground, he twisted and came down perfectly balanced on Ashfur's shoulders. Ashfur let out a grunt of surprise, while Hollypaw stared in astonishment. How had Lionpaw learned how to do that move so perfectly? "See?" Lionpaw challenged his mentor as he leapt to the ground. "Now will you be a bit tougher on me?" "You want tough?" There was a hint of a growl in Ashfur's voice, and his blue eyes gleamed. "Be careful what you wish for, Lionpaw." Hollypaw felt the fur on her shoulder begin to rise. Was Ashfur joking? "I can cope with anything," Lionpaw insisted. Ashfur leapt on Lionpaw, landing a hard blow on his ear. Lionpaw rolled to one side, raking his hind paws down Ashfur's flank. A heartbeat later, he was back on his paws, leaping into the air and landing on his mentor's shoulders in the move Cloudtail had just demonstrated. Ashfur reared up on his hind paws, shaking off Lionpaw. Hollypaw winced at the thud as her brother hit the ground. Instantly, his mentor jumped on top of him, and the 2 cats wrestled together in a screeching tangle of fur, rolling closer to the other apprentices. Poppypaw had to dodge to one side to avoid them. Thornclaw curled his tail around his shoulder and drew to the side of the clearing. Cloudtail and Cinderpaw joined them, their training session forgotten as they stared at the ferocious battle. Ashfur was fighting as if Lionpaw was a warrior, but so was Lionpaw. Hollypaw watched in amazement as he bit down on Ashfur's tail, then jerked it so hard that Ashfur was unbalanced and fell on his side. She'd seen Berrynose and his littermates practice that move just before they were made warriors. She hadn't expected to learn it for at least another moon. Hollypaw stiffened as she saw flecks of scarlet on Ashfur's gray pelt. Lionpaw would get in big trouble for fighting with claws unsheathed. Then she noticed that her brother was bleeding too. Ashfur's blue eyes were blazing with fury, as if he'd forgotten it wasn't a real battle. "They're hurting each other!" She turned to Breakenfur. "Can't you make them stop?" Before Breakenfur could do anything, Ashfur launched himself on top of Lionpaw and held him down with both 4 paws on his chest. "Was that tough enough for you?" he panted. But Lionpaw wouldn't give in. He went on battering at Ashfur's belly with his hind paws, twisting from side to side in an effort to throw off the heavier cat. Ashfur raised his paw, aimed to blow at Lionpaw's ear. "That's enough!" Breakenfur bounded forward, his voice sharp with shock. Ashfur led him up. "Lionpaw, sheath your claws. This bout is over." Ashfur turned his head to glare at Breakenfur. The blaze in his blue eyes faded, and he stepped back. Lionpaw scrambled to his paws, while Breakenfur thrust himself between them in case the fight broke out all over again. Lionpaw's chest heaved as he fought for breath. The fur on one shoulder was torn and blood was welling out of the scratches. Hollypaw could see the marks on Ashfur's claws. Hollypaw could see the marks on Ashfur's claws down his side. But Ashfur was bleeding too. From one ear and a hind leg, after a heartbeat to catch his breath, he meowed loudly. Well done, Lion Paw. You fought like a warrior. Looking around, he added, I hope the rest of you were watching. You should all be trying to be as good as Lion Paw. Cinderpaw and Poppypaw exchanged glances. They both looked too shocked to say anything. Even Hollypaw couldn't bring herself to congratulate her brother. The way the practice session had turned savage had disturbed her. Come on. He beckoned to Lionpaw with his tail. That was so good. You don't have to do any more training. We'll go back to camp, and you can have the first pick of the fresh kill pile. Thanks, Ashfur! Lionpaw was recovering now, his breathing easier and his fur beginning to lie flat again. I'll tell Firestar too. His mentor added, ThunderClan will have a warrior to be proud of when you finish your apprenticeship. Lionpaw's amber eyes glowed. He padded off beside Ashfur with his head and tail held high. No cat spoke until they had disappeared into the undergrowth, headed for the camp. Then Cloudtail puffed out his breath as if he'd been holding it in. Right. Let's see what the rest of you can do. Are you gonna fight us like that? Poppypaw asked nervously. It was Breakenfur who replied, Certainly not. His fur was still ruffled. Hollypaw could tell, either by the ferocity of the fight or how well her brother had fought. We'll just go on practicing the techniques, and we'll all keep our claws sheathed. Hollypaw joined in, but she found it hard to concentrate. She still could see in her mind. She could still see in her mind the blaze of rage in Ashfur's eyes, as if he'd forgotten he was fighting his own apprentice. That's scary. Like, if he, actually forgot, and he was fighting with pure, his power, and he still couldn't, Lionpaw still wasn't, pushed down completely. He was pinned down, but you know what I mean? He still fought back, and he was still fighting back. Man, crazy. Ooh, 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 ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. When the training session was over, Hollypaw ran back to camp ahead of the other apprentices. She wanted to make sure her brother was okay. She found Lionpaw asleep in their den, half buried in a nest of moss and bracken. He was breathing deeply and didn't stir when Hollypaw patted up and sniffed the wound on his shoulder. The bleeding had stopped. Dried blood was crusted around the scratches, and the fur was torn loose and bloodstained. Obviously, he hadn't been to Leafpool to have the wound checked out. Mouse brain. Hollypaw murmured affectionately. Lionpaw still didn't stir as she rasped her tongue over his shoulder until the wound was clean. It wasn't surprising that he was exhausted. Hollypaw touched her nose gently to his ear and left him to sleep. Pushing her way out through the brambles, she spotted her father by the fresh kill pile. Hi, Brambleclaw meowed. I'm getting a hunting patrol together. Do you want to come? Earlier that morning, Hollypaw would have jumped at the chance, but now she had more important things on her mind. There's something I have to tell you, she began, launching into the story of Lionpaw's fight with Ashfur. I don't think Ashfur should have pushed Lionpaw that hard, she finished. I thought they were going to tear each other apart. Brambleclaw let out a soothing purr. You don't need to worry. I met Ashfur in the forest and he told me all about it. He's really pleased with Lionpaw. He narrowed his eyes, half in amusement, half embarrassment. He told me Lionpaw's gonna make a warrior like his father. I assumed that was a compliment. Hollypaw raked her claws in the ground in frustration. But you didn't see it, she protested. It was really scary. Brambleclaw's tail tip flicked. Fighting is scary, he pointed out. If we have to fight another clan, they won't sheath their claws. But we're not fighting another clan now. Sooner or later, there will be a battle, and we have to be ready for it. One day, Lionpaw will need all his skill. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of all my kits. Lionpaw is a brilliant fighter. Leafpool tells me Jaypaw knows all the herbs already. And what about me? Hollypaw asked, trying to push down a pang of jealousy. Aren't I special too? Brambleclaw leaned over to give her ear a comforting lick. "You're my little thinker," he purred. "I rely on you to make the best decisions, and to keep your brothers in line." Hollypaw brightened. That was a skill she would need if she was ever to be a clan leader. "Good," Brambleclaw mewed. "Now, what about this hunting patrol?" "But why can't Berry Nose come?" Honeypaw complained. "Because he's the most annoying furball in the forest," Hollypaw muttered through gritted teeth, though not loud enough for her friend to hear. Sandstorm and Honeypaw had joined Brambleclaw and Hollypaw on the hunting patrol. Honeypaw hadn't arrived at the training session until it was almost over, and she had kept trying to tell every cat how much better Berrynose could perform a fighting technique. Now Hollypaw was finding it hard to sense prey, because her fellow apprentice was still meowing on about the cream-colored warrior. "Berrynose was on the dawn patrol," Sandstorm explained, with more patience than Hollypaw could ever muster. "He deserves a rest." "But we'd catch much more if he was with us," Honeypaw insisted. "He's a brilliant hunter." "Well, we'll just have to do the best we can without him," Sandstorm mewed. Hollypaw thought that Honeypaw must have missed the sarcastic edge to the ginger she-cat's tone. She just kept on babbling about Berrynose until Hollypaw wanted to wrap her tail around her friend's muzzle to keep it shut. Exasperated, she ran ahead a little ways, trying to get out of range of Honeypaw's voice. Sun-high was just past. Golden rays warmed Hollypaw's fur, while her paws patted through lush, cool grass. The trees were thick with birdsong, and the air was laden with fresh green scents. She bounded forward until the sound of the patrol had faded behind her. At the top of a rise, she halted. Ahead of her, trees grew closer together, the spaces between them choked by bracken and briar, and for a few heartbeats she wasn't sure where she was. She was a long way past the entrance to the tunnels, and she couldn't spot any other familiar landmarks. Then she picked up the faint sound of running water and realized she stood at the very edge of ThunderClan's hunting territory, not far from the WindClan border. Everything around her was peaceful, but something made Hollypaw's fur prickle with apprehension. Her paws were tugging her to run back and find the rest of the patrol. "You're not a kid," she scolded herself. "This is ThunderClan territory. There's nothing to be afraid of." She would go back, she decided, but she would catch a piece of prey first, just to prove to herself that she wasn't a coward who ran away from nothing. She raised her head and opened her jaws to draw in a long breath. Cat scent! Hollypaw tasted it carefully, wondering if WindClan was trespassing on ThunderClan territory again. But it wasn't WindClan scent. It wasn't any cat scent Hollypaw had encountered before. Had a group of rogues invaded the territory? "Are you okay?" Hollypaw let out a long breath of relief at the sound of her father's voice. She turned to see Brambleclaw padding up to her, his powerful shoulders brushing through the bracken. Sandstorm and Honeypaw followed a little way behind. "I'm fine," Hollypaw replied, trying to hide how the strange scent had spooked her. "I can scent cats, but it's not any scent I know." Brambleclaw tasted the air, then glanced sharply at Sandstorm, who was doing the same. The ginger she-cat took a pace towards him and murmured something in his ear. Brambleclaw nodded. His amber eyes looked troubled. "Run back to camp as fast as you can," he meowed to both apprentices. "Tell Firestar to send more warriors." "But not Sandstorm or Brook," Sandstorm added. But not Stormfur or Brook," Sandstorm added. Hollypaw couldn't understand the urgency in the warriors' voices. The tension in their fur crackled like green leaf lightning. "What is it?" Honeypaw asked. "What's the matter?" "We can't leave you here if there's danger," Hollypaw protested. "Just do as you're told," Sandstorm snapped. "There is no danger," Brambleclaw added quietly, "but we need more warriors. Go, now." Hollypaw and Honeypaw exchanged one scared glance and pelted back through the forest towards camp. Fear made Hollypaw's fur stand on end, and her heart thudded with more than the speed of her running. "Firestar!" she yowled as she thrust her way through the thorn tunnel. "Firestar, come quickly!" As Hollypaw skidded to a stop beneath the high ledge, she spotted Mouseford jerk awake from her place beside the Elder's Den and leaped to her paws, tail lashing. Cloudtail erupted from the warrior's den, his fur bristling and his claws scraping the ground. Behind him, Brightheart and Sorreltail popped their heads through the branches, eyes wide with alarm. Daisy swept her tail protectively around her two tiny kits, who were playing in a patch of sunlight near the nursery, and herded them back inside. Firestar emerged from his den on the high ledge. "What's going on?" he demanded. Strange cats. Holly Paw gasped, still trying to catch her breath. Near the Wind Clan border, Honey Paw added. Brahmaclaw said. Holly Paw whirled around as yowling broke out behind her. More cats were thumping through the thorn tunnel into camp. Graystripe was in the lead, with Birchfall and Whitewing just behind. But that wasn't what made Holly Paw arch her back while every hair on her pelt rose and tingled. With the 3 ThunderClan cats, there were 2 others she didn't recognize. A massive dark brown tabby tom with a pure black she-cat, who was smaller and skinnier than the cats of ThunderClan. Graystripe and the 2 younger warriors stood close around them, not allowing them any further into camp. As the she-cat opened her jaws to speak, Graystripe silenced her with a threatening hiss. Hollypaw flexed her claws and let her tail tip flick to and fro. The scent coming from the 2 strange cats was the same one she had picked up near the Wind Clan border. The scent of intruders! So far, we haven't had many deaths, but I feel that's going to change very soon. I'm wondering that, honestly. I wonder if the deaths in this book are just going to be more profound, you know? Like, they're bigger deaths. They have bigger impact than the deaths in the first and second series. What the? It's dirt here. Also, I guess there were a lot of deaths in the first and second... No, in the first series especially, because there was, like, essentially a war going on between all of the clans. The second series, it was more like survival versus them. And then right now, there hasn't been any war so far. So that's why it's pretty tame. Either that or this is where, like, half the... all of a sudden, bam! They're all dead. All right, I think I'm going to end it for today. I think that's a really good cliffhanger. Get it? Because they're probably from the mountains. Cliffhangers. And tomorrow, because I misscheduled myself and I was going to have tomorrow off. Oh my god, it's Blastoise. We were going to have tomorrow off, and then I was going to stream Rain World on Friday and Outer Wilds on Saturday. Instead, we're going to do Outer Wilds tomorrow and Rain World on Friday. And then Saturday is nothing. And Sunday is also nothing, I guess. Heck yeah! We're going back to the Know My study! Breaking out my Know My shenanigans. Back to the grind. I don't know where we left off, so actually no, I kind of remember. We had just finished writing down all the names of the cats in the Hanging City who were pondering about the warp core. I remember because my brain is filled with outer wild knowledge. The cats? Did I say the cats? Oh no, Via! As Romar are no longer goat people. Yeah, they're cat people, don't you know? Hi, Via, how's my stream going? We were just about to end, actually. You didn't brush your teeth? Go brush your teeth, Kirby. That's important. They're now felines. But I'm going to read your lovely poem. In the land of streams both dark and bright. I read that backwards. Fia plays with heart and spark. A VTuber artist, oh so true, with tales of horror and anime for you. From Elden Ring's fish that swim, they sketch and battle with a grin. Through circles run and foes they face, Fia's journey is never a race. So gather round, both big and small, for adventures that await us all. Yay! Just in time! Welcome back, Pumpkin! How are you? How was your stream? Were you guys playing, Were you guys playing Elden's Ring, but you were fishing? You were mostly fishing in Elden's Ring? Thank you for the follow, Mucho! guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Noel. I'm in the middle of trying to change my lore. So I used to be a carnival clown, but now, well, I'm still a carnival clown, but I work as a concession. I'm a concession worker at a fantasy carnival. I need like a better way to say that. You know, like shopkeepers have like a cool name, like I'm a I'm a shopkeeper at a carnival, but that's not really it. I'm like a concession. W follow. Thank you. A shopkeeper like Morshu? Who's Morshu? Morshu. Morshu. Oh yeah! Like that guy. The meme guy. Sometimes. I give goods. I give popcorn. And you guys are all my little familiars who help me cook. Can I follow too? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Should I call you... What should I call you? F-Twuber? F-Twuber? Or maybe 2000? 2K? For the win! Yeah! I like that. For the win. I guess FTW. I'm using... Would it be like FTW is your name, but then for the wind is like... For the win? From the words. Oh, so it's not even for the win. That isn't even your full name. Your full name is from the words. 1000 birth year, BR is my real life initials. Sounded all real cool when I was 10. From the words of BR. That does sound cool. It's like... It sounds like a movie name. Or like a novel name. Yeah! So I guess your full name isn't for the win, it's from the words. For the win. For the win. From the words. Wordy. For the win. Something like that. Okay, guys, I'm gonna send you off to Lolly. We're gonna have a double raid, double. I'm okay with either or, for the win or from the words. Okay! We'll spice it up from time to time. I think it's Lolly's birthday today, so that's very happy. She'll be happy for a big ol' lovely raid from Fia and Nono, who is me. Hopefully you guys can maybe tune in tomorrow after Fia's stream when I'm gonna be playing Outer Wilds, but I've already beaten Outer Wilds. We're basically just studying Outer Wilds right now. We're like going back and we're trying to map out the movements of all the Nomai, who I called cats earlier, which is funny. Please wish Lolly a happy birthday if it is their birthday. I hope it is their birthday. If not, just wish them a happy. Wish them a happy day. And I wish you guys a happy day too. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Oh yeah, Phil, if you can like send me the timestamps. I know you sent them in chat, but I don't know when you sent them in chat. Bye bye! Bye 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 bye! Check Discord. Nice! Thank you.